And how many times this season do you think we're going to have to cover the Detroit Pistons taking on the Atlanta Hawks? Because tonight, I think, marks the third time these two teams are not only going to be matched up, because you know what? Teams play each other a lot all the time. But we are 25 games to the year. This is the third matchup between them, and yet this is also the third time I will be covering the game. So the third time they played each other on nights where the Knicks don't play. With that being said, we are here, we are back, we are not going anywhere because we have to prep for tomorrow's big cup weekend games. But we are here tonight with the Atlanta Hawks taking on the Detroit Pistons for the third time so far this year. Appreciate you guys. Let's start the show. I know, we are back. We are back yet again. We're going to have to start with this guy. Yes, we are back. We are here once again. Appreciate you guys. Let's get right into it. The Atlanta Hawks taking on the Detroit Pistons. I guess either way, it's good for the Knicks. It's also good scouting to check out the opponent. Salvador Chavez, what's up, Salvador? Daniel Berry Sports, my man, was popping, my guy. Susan, of course. What's up, Susan? Right? It's also good scouting to check out these East teams. I mean, if I go through the other games, you got Pacers, 76ers, Bulls, Hornets, Cavs, Wizards, Jazz, Grizzlies, Nets, Mavericks, Timberwolves, Warriors. I guess the other good game tonight would be the Timberwolves taking on the Warriors, although how interested are we in a West Coast game that starts at 10 p.m.? Maybe a little bit more interested considering the news that came out about the New York Knicks, but if you guys are interested, I'll let you know some of the news if you haven't heard it. But, maybe Indiana, Philadelphia is going to be a good game. But, the two teams at the top of the Eastern Conference who are going to be the most interesting is going to be Atlanta, is going to be Detroit. They're playing together. They're playing each other tonight. I think either way, it's good for the Knicks. If Atlanta loses, they continue to build the lead on them in the standings. If Detroit loses, the Knicks gain some speed on them in order to chase that number one seed. I do think that eventually they will get to the number one seed. I don't see Detroit keeping up at the pace at which they're going. Although Detroit is the home team today. But we are going to start here with the Atlanta Hawks. As always, we're going to start with the away team. The Atlanta Hawks are on the road here in Detroit. And normally I would say we're going to start with the best player on the team. And in doing so, they would obviously be up on the graphics, right? At the start of the year, I would tell you Trae Young is the best player on this team. I think right now, whether Trae Young was healthy or wasn't, and he's not healthy right now, he will not be playing yet again. He's been out for a while now. Whether he's healthy or he isn't healthy, this is no longer Trae Young's team. Because this is now Jalen Johnson's team. And I think at some point, whether Trae Young ends up getting traded or not, because the rumors are flying now about how the Atlanta Hawks are seriously looking at moving on from Trae Young. Whether they do it or not, it's not set in stone. They're not actively trying to get rid of Trae Young or anything, but they are looking into it. They are thinking, Jalen Johnson, hold on, is he better than we thought he was? I wrote down here Johnson has been on fire since Trae Young went out. He's proving he's more than just a good Robin, which I think is what everybody's kind of expectation was of Jalen Johnson after his leap last year. He's proven he might be a Batman. He really just might be a Batman. I mean, this guy's averages are up across the board. 23.5 points a game, 10.5 rebounds, 8 assists. I mean, this dude is essentially a walking triple-double right now. And it feels like we say that on any given night where every team has a guy who is capable of going off for a triple-double. But Jalen Johnson is proving that more times than not, he's going to end up with a triple-double. He had 2 monster triple-doubles in back-to-back games not too long ago. 1.6 steals to add to it. Not a bad defender. Pretty active. Keeps his head up. Pretty aware what's going on. The defensive awareness is not lacking with a guy like Jalen Johnson, where usually on-ball power forwards, ball-handling power forwards, point forwards of his nature aren't the greatest defenders. And he's not great, but he's definitely serviceable. He could definitely hold his own, and if you put him alongside a really good defensive big man, a rim protector, definitely more than hold his own and keep the defense afloat along with the defensive talent they have on this team. But Jalen Johnson, I mean, the 3.3 assists is a little high, but around 3. You can keep it around 3. I think 3.3 is kind of my limit. Once you start getting over that, you start inching closer to 3.5, and I think 3.5 is just starting to push it there. And we'll get to the turnover discussion when we get over to the Detroit side, because obviously a young team like that with a young guy like Cade Cunningham who has struggled with turnovers. We'll get to him, though. Right now we're focused on Jalen Johnson. Like I said, the averages are up across the board. When I went in to update his statistics so far this year, the points went up, the rebounds went up mightily by about 2, the assist went up by about 2 as well. So he's not only just a walking double-double, at 8 assists a game with Trae Young being out. They're kind of looking at Trae Young like, do we need your playmaking? Because right now, Jalen Johnson is saying, no, we don't, right? Like, Jalen Johnson may end up being the catalyst. His good play may end up being the catalyst of getting Trae Young shipped out of Atlanta. And that may be a blessing in disguise for Atlanta, because you start to look around at Trae Young and around the league, and you go, not only is it a question mark about whether or not you could win with a small guard, sure, it's really a question mark about whether you can win with your best player simultaneously being one of, if not the worst defensive players in the league, right? Like, it's not just about, oh, Trae Young's really small, so he's going to struggle defensively. Plenty of players throughout NBA history have been able to help lead teams to win championships while not being all that great defensively. But Trae Young actively is small and has very poor defensive awareness and very low interest in actually playing defense. And so you start to look at the team construction around Trae Young. They did a great job of trying to build around him. It also kind of complements the way Jalen Johnson wants to play. Now, they need more shooters. They've always kind of needed more shooters. But we'll see how Trae Young is going to accommodate the rise of Jalen Johnson and the rise of the rest of the team, as we'll get to it, because we're going to jump right to Kristaps Porzingis, not the guy I thought we were going to go to. Here, I'm already forgetting the order in which these graphics come up. But Kristaps Porzingis so far this year, 19.2 points per game, 5.6 rebounds. He's great. He's great. As I wrote down here, Porzingis is still valuable as a rim-protecting stretch big when he can play, which is always, he's 30 years old now, which has always been the case for Kristaps Porzingis, which seemingly will be the case for the remainder of his career with this mysterious illness that he has continuously struggled with. Going back to last season, I think it popped up, maybe a year before that. Either way, he's in and out of the lineup, whether it's with this illness or whether it's with just a regular injury, like a calf strain or a hamstring pull or a groin strain. These are things that have plagued him throughout the entirety of his career, if not even the more advanced injuries like the ACL tears that he's had. At 30 years old, with kind of the injury concerns that he's had, when he can play, I mean, he's giving you 19 a game. The rebounding is obviously not where it used to be. But 50% from the field, 36% from three-point range, still extremely valuable at almost a 20-point-per-game score. Can still rim protect at 1.6 blocks a game. Can still knock down the three with consistency and give you scoring in the mid-post and the low-post area, which would help benefit this team that can at times struggle to score as we go down the rest of their roster. He's mightily still valuable to this team, but you're only valuable as long as you can play. And Kristaps Porzingis struggles with actually getting on the court to play. Whether it's his fault or not, it's just the case. It's just reality. It's just where we are right now with him. Then we go over to Dyson Daniels, and Dyson Daniels is having a weird season for sure. And I guess the place I want to start with right here is this number, 14.6 points per game. You can't even shoot better from three-point land than Mitchell Robinson from free throw line. Like, Mitchell Robinson over on the Knicks shoots it at about 17% from the foul line, and you're shooting at 14.5% from three-point range. We are now 25 games to the season. Like, I understand 5 games to the season, maybe even a 10-game stretch into the season where you're not shooting it well. He shot it at 34% last season, which is respectable. It's not good, but it's not bad either. It's respectable. It's okay for a low-volume three-point shooter. Shoot at around 34%, right? If he has to take it, he'll take it. He'll make a couple handful here and there. He'll be respectable enough from three. It'll help also open up his game a little bit more. 14% is bordering on, doesn't matter how good you are defensively. You can't be a starter as a guard, as a perimeter player, shooting 14.5% from three-point range. It might just be an extended slump. Who knows? But at this point, with Dyson Daniels, like I said, it almost doesn't matter how good he is defensively. He's one of the best defensive perimeter guards in the league. And he does so many other things well. This is also another thing I wanted to mention about Dyson Daniels. He does, very good rebounder for his position, 6.2 rebounds. Good playmaker as a secondary creator, secondary ball handler, which is also something he's also pretty decent at, which is ball handling and bringing it down and helping alleviate some of the responsibilities from the other guards. But this number right here is gonna continue to devalue him as an overall player. If he can't get this back to respectability, like I said, we're over a quarter of the way into the year. Like we're probably around 30% of the way into the season, 25 games now. 14.6% is not gonna get it done at all. This is no longer small sample size. We are now entering the stretch where this may just be where he's at in his shooting development. And like I said, it's weird coming off a season where he shot at 34%. Like if he's shooting at 25%, shooting 28%, be like, oh yeah, he's having a rough year from three-point range. He's shooting at under 15. This is rough. Mark, what's up, Mark? He said, Ragu. I knew somebody was going to bring it up eventually. We're going to get to it, Mark. We're going to get to it. We'll have time tonight to talk about it. We get over to Zaccharie Risacher, the second-year former number 1 overall pick from the previous draft, 20 years old. 11.1 points per game, 2.8 rebounds, 1.5 steals. It's interesting because as I was updating his graphics, his stats here, Zaccharie Risacher's stats are kind of down across the board in comparison to his rookie year last year. So you look at him and you go, okay, former number 1 overall pick. He's still only 20 years old. Development is not linear. I get it, right? There's more talent with Jalen Johnson now elevating himself. There's less opportunity for him as a forward, as a wing, to playing alongside Jalen Johnson to sort of get out and run with the ball in his hands. So kind of learning how to play off of Jalen Johnson and what that means for him in his development. But the shooting has to be there then. The finishing has to be there, which it just has not been for him. 11 points per game is fine. It's solid. But if the scoring isn't necessarily going to be there for you and the efficiency isn't necessarily going to be there for you, you have to dig down and find other ways to contribute for this team. He's a fine defender, but nothing stand out, especially being on a team with a bunch of standout defenders. And the rebounding and the assist is just not enough. It's just not enough. It is his second year. Development is not linear. We talked about this, I know. But at the same time, when you're a number 1 overall pick, the pressure is there. And time in the NBA is very, very short, even for number 1 overall picks. Maybe even especially for number 1 overall picks. Like, you'll have a longer leash than other guys, maybe. But depending on the team, like, the Atlanta Hawks right now, with the way that Jalen Johnson is playing and having a leap from other guys on the team, as I'll say, like a guy like Dyson Daniels is a guy they bet on, and they won that bet mightily. They might just cut their losses with Zaccharie Risacher, go get a guy who could help them win more basketball games now, because especially with the East being a little bit more wide open, not just this year, but maybe going on into the future, we'll see how guys come back from injuries and what those teams look like. But the Atlanta Hawks may look at themselves and they go, you know what? Let's move off of Risacher and get a younger guy who makes more sense, or get future assets that can maybe help us down the line. It's just, you're looking for some positive Zaccharie Risacher is showing you so far this year, and it just looks a lot more of the same with just less opportunity. We're going to get over to Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and this is very interesting because we could have probably explained the points per game jump from Nickeil Alexander-Walker with, well, it's early in the season. Trae Young went down. He stepped up. They were really struggling to score as well early in the season, even with Trae Young. So he came into the game and was like, yeah, sure, I'll put the ball in the basket. I'll take all the shots. And so the efficiency was bad, but the scoring was there. He was putting the orange ball into the orange hoop. And so that is how you can maybe compartmentalize the high points per game average for a guy who averaged, 12 points per game last year, jumping over 20 so far this year. But we are now 25 games to the season. And like I said, Trae Young is out, so the opportunity is there for a guy like Alexander-Walker to score the ball and have the ball in his hands and do a bunch of things with it. But you start looking at the percentages here, and it's showing that he's more than capable of taking on sort of the role that they have thrusted on him without Trae Young. Now, normally, a guy like earlier in the year can put up these points. People say all the time, like, if a guy really wanted to, if a guy had the opportunity, if he was on a terrible team and they just put the ball in his hands, he could probably give you 20 a night. But the thing that takes a hit and hints at the fact that they are not ready for a role like that is that the efficiency will take a hit. And the efficiency took a hit for Nickeil Alexander-Walker to start the year, but as the year's gone on, either he's getting a lot more comfortable in his role, hit a hot streak, or maybe he just needed the opportunity and needed to adjust to a new team, new teammates, in order to get to a point where almost 40% from three, 47% from the field, 85% from the foul line, and still remaining over 20 a game, 3.5 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 23 and 3 on this team, playing alongside Johnson and Daniels, who do a little bit of everything else to kind of keep up the low rebounds and assists for a starting guard like him. Like, it's all kind of working out exactly the way they needed to, because in theory, if they moved off from Trae Young, you would need a point guard who can do the things that Alexander-Walker is doing so far, who can still give you points, can give you a little bit of rebounding, a little bit of assist, can be a lockdown defender, which Alexander-Walker absolutely can be in certain matchups, but also keep the percentages alive in order to play alongside guys like Johnson and Daniels. Kind of the perfect fit, and like Jalen Johnson's rise, might be the reason why the Atlanta Hawks look at Trae Young and they go, do we need him around? Should he be here? Should we continue to invest in Trae Young and try to win with, a really small, diminutive point guard who doesn't really care about playing defense and continuously harms our team on that aspect? I don't know. Can you trade Trae Young, get more assets? I mean, this is kind of becoming an indictment on Trae Young, who's still an incredibly talented basketball player who has a ton of value. But with the rise of these guys and the way that they're playing, the value for the Hawks may start dwindling here. Oda Austin, what's up, Oda? We get over now to Onyeka Okongwu, and when Kristaps Porzingis is not playing, Okongwu is stepping up in a major way. 16 points per game for him, 7.4 rebounds, 3 assists. Doing a little bit of everything for Okongwu. I would like to see the rebounding numbers be a little bit higher when he gets an opportunity to start, which he's gotten a lot of opportunities to start this year because of the Kristaps Porzingis thing that we've talked about. But 50% from the field, 76% from the foul line, and 35.5% from three-point range. He was at about 40, 39, 40, hovering around there for the majority of the year. Starting to come back down to earth a little bit, but still 35.5% as a center is excellent percentages. They've even come up with play designs in order to peel him off of screens and for pin downs to get open looks from three, which is kind of crazy development for a guy who came in as pretty much just a lob threat and a finisher and a rim protector. He still gives you those things while now stepping out and knocking down threes at only 24 years old. We could see a little bit even more of a rise from Okongwu, and we'll see how much Atlanta values Kristaps Porzingis and maybe if he might be out the door come the trade deadline. The reason why I'm mentioning all these trades with the Atlanta Hawks is because their team is very interesting. They're hovering around 500. They're 14-11, and I think there's even more expectation for a team like them. They might want to see these guys fully return with Trae Young around and see what the team looks like at that point, but they have an opportunity here, and again, we've talked about it. Every team is talking about it. Every pundit has talked about it so far in the NBA this year, where the East is wide open. There's no dominant team that feels overwhelming when you go up against them. Like, it feels like any team could beat any team. Right? And so if the Atlanta Hawks can get into the playoffs fully healthy, maybe they'll just, do that this season and see if they can make a full run at it and then make a decision in the offseason about what to do with the rest of the roster. But either way, a guy like Okongwu feels like he's a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. We get to Luke Kennard, which is the last guy I want to talk about here for Atlanta. They have a couple of guys who will also play today, like a guy like Keaton Wallace and whatnot, he'll come in. But the guys who are part of their normal rotation probably ends here with Luke Kennard, 8 points per game, 2 rebounds, 2.3 assists. Not much to say about Luke. Kennard has provided what he always provides, really fantastic floor spacing and shooting at about 35 years old. 30. He's only 29? This guy's 29 years old? That's crazy. But 44% from three-point range, 48% from the field. This is just what Luke Kennard brings you. That's, nothing all that stand out. CEO King, what's up, CEO? David Oz Jr., what's up, David? So you doing the game today? That's what's up. Absolutely. We are live almost every night, unless there's like truly an atrocious game or no good games on. And there were no good games on yesterday. I mean, the Celtics lost, and we can go through not the box scores, but we go around the league from yesterday's games because those were interesting. Celtics lost, so that's good. But now we get over to the Detroit Pistons, the number 1 seed in the East, Detroit Pistons. And we're going to start with their best player, Cade Cunningham, point guard on the team. 27.5 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 9.3 assists. That's also slightly down as the season continues to go on, including the percentages. Actually, the percentages slightly up. Still sub 30 from 3-point range, though. Field goal percentage a little bit higher. MBM, what's up, MBM? Free throw percentage still 84%, 1.5 steals, 0.8 blocks. This is the number that is just really unacceptable. I know he has the ball in his hands a lot. I know there's not like a clear other ball handler to help lift the responsibility and the burden of being the main ball handler on a team. But 4 turnovers is just too much. You're a 6'6" guard. You can't be turning the ball over 4 times a game. You can't. David said, "Are you doing 2 tomorrow?" The plan is to do 2 tomorrow, brother. Especially with Wemby back. Yeah, Wemby back. Yes, sir, David. Yes, sir. With Wemby back, it's hard not to look at that Thunder OKC game and think, nah, we won't do that one. I mean, there should be about an hour difference between the Knicks game ending and the next game starting. So I'll definitely have time to kind of come down, maybe even get an outfit change in, and then come back for the next game because we have the Knicks game at 5:30, which is a weird start time, but 5:30 start time, so we'll be live at 5, and then we have the late game, which is a 9 o'clock start time. So we'll have some time in between, but I do believe the plan right now is to do both of them. Right, but Cade Cunningham, 4 turnovers to 9 assists is just, like, it's a little bit above a 2-to-1 assist ratio, turnover to assist to turnover ratio, a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, which is like, again, I get the burden that he has, but this was an issue last year at 4.5. So I guess he's getting a little bit better at it. It was 4.5 last year. It's down to about 4 this year. But it's just, you can't have games where you consistently give the other team 4 extra possessions because you just can't hold on to it. And the 3-point shooting has to come around to 30, like 35% to me is respectable. It's not good, but it's respectable. He can be sub 30, and maybe he's, going to start climbing as the season goes on. He was at about 27%. He's now 30% now. You can't be 30%, though. Not as the main ball handler of the team at 6'6", who, when the playoffs start, they're going to pack the paint on you and force you to knock down mid-range jumpers and floaters and whatnot, which you're more than capable of doing, Cade Cunningham. I know you are. But you can't consistently rely on those things, as teams will send double teams over to you, force you to pass it off. And if you don't trust the other ball handlers on the team, and if you don't have knockdown shooters, which the Pistons have some knockdown shooters, and we'll get to them, it's just going to become easier to guard for a guy like him. David Hodge Jr. said, "Go Atlanta, even though I hate Ice Trae." Well, fortunately for us, he's not playing tonight, so we don't necessarily have to root for him, but we could still root for Atlanta to win. We get over to Jalen Duren now. Jalen Duren, stats slightly down, right? He was averaging about 20 and 12, now 18.8, 11.5. Not a whole lot, but still slightly. 65% from the field as well, which is incredible, which is great. Fantastic play finisher, the modern-day Stoudemire. We talk about it all the time. Duren got off to a hot start, slightly cooled off a little bit as teams are adjusting to him now. The game plans are different. They're not allowing as many easy runs to the rim, not allowing him to catch it as deep as he does. When he does, they're bringing a double team and help side over and forcing him to make the passes, which, not the greatest at making reads out of double teams. 1.8 assists to 2.6 turnovers, which is obviously not necessarily what you want to see. It's a negative assist to turnover ratio at that point. 75% from the foul line. At least he's knocking down his free throws. That's always great for your big man. He'll probably end up being a first-time All-Star this year, which is great. But areas of improvement are definitely there. At only 22 years old, he's going to continue to get better. He's going to clean up the things we've talked about because he's already pretty damn fantastic. The development has been absolutely incredible for a guy like Jalen Duren. Get over to Ausar Thompson, who is just underwhelming, I guess might be the best way to describe him. Ausar Thompson, 11.8 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3.1 assists. Stats are actually a little bit down as the season's gone on. Like, a lot's starting to come back to earth for the Detroit Pistons, who got off to a fantastic hot start to the year. They won, 14 games in a row or something like that at some point. 1.5 steals, 0.7 blocks, 1.4 turnovers. We know his value is from his athleticism and his play finishing and whatnot. But he's continuing to develop well for the Pistons. He just hasn't had any kind of leap to go off of yet. He's a solid third guy for this team right now who needs to improve either his ball handling or his three-point shooting or just his perimeter shooting all around, or even just an in-between game to, like, maybe become a knockdown floater artist or whatever. Because right now, he's really just a play finisher, a high-level play finisher, but just a play finisher and a defender, which is nice. But when you're the third guy who was the 5th overall pick or 4th overall pick, whatever he was, and there's, and your twin brother is down there in Houston, like making a leap, I think the team is going to start, and fans and people around the league are going to start looking at Ausar Thompson like, oh, well, okay, are you the lesser twin? And you don't want to be the lesser twin. And development isn't linear for everybody. Like, even though Amen Thompson is starting to leap over there for Houston, doesn't mean Ausar Thompson is going to start leaping at around the same time. But I think people are looking at Ausar Thompson like, okay, this is year 3, brother. This is year 3. And I know you had health concerns before that threatened your NBA career, and I get that. And we're going to give you time. You're only 22 years old. I'm not expecting continuous growth that's linear. But, we'd like to see some signs. We'd like to see a 20-point game every now and again, and you just don't really get that out of him. So it kind of makes you look side-eyed at him thinking, is that leap in there? Like you're doing a lot of the dirty work stuff, which is great. But I think a lot of people want to see a sign of maybe stardom in the line for Ausar Thompson. And maybe it'll just explode out at some point. But as of right now, he hasn't really shown the signs this year. Like I said, want to see a 25-point, 8-rebound, 5-assist game. Like you're not going to get that consistently, but I want to see the signs that you can do those kinds of things and you could have breakout games like that. And I just don't think that we've seen that yet from Ausar Thompson. We saw signs of what Amen Thompson is doing this year, last year. And it's still early in the season, right? Somewhat. So there's still more time for him to get more comfortable, become more confident in his game, have the opportunities come to him as the season goes on. But as of right now, still searching for the signs for Ausar Thompson. We go over to Jaden Ivey, and Jaden Ivey's a weird case so far this year. Had the broken leg last year, had the big surgery, completely derailed his career so far because he was averaging 17.5 points per game last year before the injury, and then obviously when he went down, it just hasn't been the same so far this year. It's a major injury. It's a lot of time missed. It's now a completely different team than when he got injured. When he got injured, they were a plucky, maybe play-in team last year. Then he got injured. Detroit was fumbling around for a little bit and then found themselves and then had the nice big run towards the end of the year, had a nice run in the playoffs, and then they come into this year. Ivy is now back, and it's just a fundamentally different team where it's now Cade Cunningham is the 1A and Jalen Duren is the 2. And then Ausar Thompson is the 3, and then you start looking at Ivy off the bench like, hey, Jaden Ivey, it's cool. You want to come into the game, ISO a little bit, attack. The three-point shooting's still there, which is nice, which is something he developed last year before the injury. 42% from 3, which is great. The overall finishing isn't necessarily there. I think the timing has been disrupted. The athleticism has been disrupted, of course. He's still making his way back from injury. I'm not going to judge him all that harshly, but he's kind of a nice buy low target for a team if they really wanted to kind of swing for the fences. Detroit Pistons, in terms of trading him away for a higher valued piece. I know the Larry Markkinen thing has been out there for forever, and so Ivy would probably be involved in a trade like that. But even still, like at 7.6 points per game, he's not getting a ton of opportunity to start alongside some other guys. So it's just, what can he give you as the season continues to go on? Again, still waiting. They're still waiting for leaps for guys like Ivy, for guys like Thompson, for guys like, as we continue to go down, not Tobias Harris, but Ron Holland, who we'll get to. But while we're here for Tobias Harris, we should mention the perfect veteran for this team. They kind of needed him. He's been on a million different teams. He's been on multiple different playoff runs. He's played in multiple different styles in terms of the West Coast. They were up and down and fast paced with the Clippers. Went to Philly. They were more of a grinded out, dirty, hard-nosed team. And then he comes here to Detroit, and he can bring that to them. He can also get out and run with Cade Cunningham when they need to get out and run, with Ivy when they need to get out and run. He kind of just fills in the void perfectly. About 15 points per game, 5 boards, 2.5 assists, which is great. Only 1.1 turnovers, fantastic. He doesn't make a ton of mistakes. 45% from the field. The three-point shooting has returned after a really slow start from the three-point line, up to 38% now, which is very good. Obviously, for your starting power forward, he could help stretch the court for guys like Cunningham, and especially for guys like Cunningham, because you need three-point shooters to spread out around the perimeter while Cunningham and Duren play that fantastic two-man game that they've been playing this year. So it's been kind of just a great veteran guy for them now. At 33 years old, he still seems like he's got a lot left in the tank. David said, can't wait to shut up Desmond Bane tomorrow. OG knows what he's got to do. Yeah, maybe it's an OG thing. maybe it's a Mikal Bridges thing. But I was really impressed with the way they played against the Orlando Magic. So don't count them out just yet, just because Franz is going to be out. We get to Ron Holland, was the guy who I thought was going to come up next. But Ron Holland is another guy that Detroit is kind of waiting on the pop here. Another high lottery pick, 5th overall, I believe he was in his draft. 8 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, 1.6 assists. There are a lot of very similar type of players between Holland, Ivey, Thompson, just like these uber athletes that want to get downhill and get to the rim, but are kind of struggling as perimeter shooters and finishers. More so Thompson and Holland. Ivey seems to be at least knocking down the perimeter shot with some regularity. 26.5% for Holland from three-point range, 40% from the field. He's not even being a great play finisher right now. The only reason why he's actually, I would assume he's getting minutes with this team right now, is because of his defense and his athleticism, but also because he was the 5th overall pick. Just hasn't really shown the signs that I think you really need to see right now for a team that has an opportunity to actually compete and make it to a finals run. But when you start looking around at their role guys, it's like, how much do you trust Thompson? How much do you trust Holland when it comes down to it? Teams are just going to keep them out of the paint and forces them to knock down perimeter shots, whether it's floaters or mid-range jumpers or just flat-out three-point shots. They just have not shown the consistency at a rate in which you're going to need them to show something. And they just haven't shown it. Get to Isaiah Stewart now, who's just having a phenomenal year. Like, you just got to tip your cap to Isaiah Stewart. He's been one of the best defensive big men in the league. And he comes off the bench for the Detroit Pistons, 10 points per game, 6 rebounds, 1.1 assists. His value is not through the traditional box scores here, the traditional statistics instead of in terms of PRA or even just his percentages here, although the thing that is obviously fantastic for the Detroit Pistons and for Isaiah Stewart is the 41.2% from three-point range, particularly because it allows him to play alongside Jalen Duren. Last year, he really struggled from the three-point line, and it kind of made it really difficult to have the double big lineup of Stewart and Duren out there because they were both clogging up the paint, and they just didn't complement each other at all. With Stewart now being able to step outside the three-point line again, doesn't take a lot of them, but when he does take them, Doug Fresh, what's up, Doug Fresh? When he does take them, it's really valuable because it'll open up the paint. He's another guy they could have out there while you still are capable of going to your bread and butter of the Cunningham and Duren pick and roll. And then obviously just the intangible stuff of the toughness, the rebounding, the grittiness, the defense that he brings that is not going to appear here in the box score. Although 2 blocks per game is damn impressive for a guy coming off the bench, right? Get over to Duncan Robinson, who is in the starting lineup tonight. Doug Fresh is up. Doug Fresh. I want Detroit to win this game. Interesting. Detroit does have the number 1 overall seed, Doug. You know, and the Knicks are going to be chasing them. But I do think it's kind of like whoever wins will end up benefiting the Knicks, right? We get to Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson was wildly important for the Detroit Pistons to pick him up, considering what happened with Malik Beasley, and now that he is kind of just officially out of the league, and I don't see a scenario in which he ever really comes back, considering the things that he's been alleged of doing. But 12.5 points per game, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He's obviously coming from a fantastic organization in Miami, so he knows how to conduct himself on a team really looking to compete for a championship. He's been to a finals before with the Miami Heat, 43.5% from the field, 77% from the foul line. But this number right here, as a knockdown three-point shooter, is a dangerous, whether it's off the movement, off the catch, or maybe even a little bit off the bounce as well, as he's continued to improve his off-the-bounce game. Not great at it, but continued to improve it. He's somewhat of a threat attacking the closeout now. They needed somebody to step into that Malik Beasley role from last year. And while they're fundamentally different shooters, Malik Beasley is more of an unconscious movement shooter, while Duncan Robinson is more of a catch-and-shoot, pin down, catch it, and rise straight up kind of shooter. Needs a little bit more time to load up and let it fly. But shooting it at a high percentage, shooting it with volume at a high percentage is something that is a necessity that the team needed in order to play alongside Cunningham and Duren as the top 2 guys. And we're going to end it here with Caris LeVert. LeVert is a true wild card. What did I write down here? He can, on one night, actively hurt your team's chances of winning the basketball game. And then on the other night, he can single-handedly secure your victory, whether it's through his scoring, playmaking, just infectious energy, or whatever. Caris LeVert, I've seen him win playoff games. I've seen him lose playoff games. I've seen him play 32 minutes in an important game. I've seen him play 8 minutes in an important game. You never really know what you're going to get from Caris LeVert. He's a true wild card. Been around for a while now at 31 years old. You know what you're going to get from him in the sense that you don't know what you're going to get from him, right? So, again, you play him a lot if he's got it going. You sit him down when he doesn't. Kind of just that level of player at this point. There's a reason why he's jumped around from good team to good team to good team to good team. I think teams hit a point where they're trying to be great, and you got to stop relying on guys who you just don't know where you're going to get on a night-to-night basis. Part of being great is consistently being good, right? Can't vacillate from being good to being bad. And Caris LeVert is a great maybe stopgap role player here for the Pistons, but I think in the long term, unless he can become more consistent, you're going to see Detroit start to maybe lean off of relying on Caris LeVert all that much. Although I will say his ball handling he was an important pickup because his ball handling does help with a guy like Cade Cunningham in the sense like at least you can give him the ball and ask Cade Cunningham to take a little bit of a breather offensively, because with Jaden Ivey not being the player that he's going to be or was projected to be before, and they just don't, and Thompson not being that guy, Holland not being that guy, at least Caris LeVert is another guy you can put the ball in his hands and you can be comfortable that he's just not going to hand it over to the other team. He can handle it a little bit before you get to your offense. So he's valuable in that sense. It's kind of the Jordan Clarkson of the Detroit Pistons. But that's going to wrap up our pregame preamble. It's going to take us right into the tip-off here. Fantastic timing. Again, Mark, if you're still here, brother, we will get to the whole rumor mill that has been flying around about who the Knicks may be interested in bringing back and what the levels of reality we may be living in terms of the possibility of these guys being able to be brought back. And I phrase it that way purposely. If you guys have read if you guys have read the rumors. All right, here we go. Let's get ready for the tip-off. Doug Fresh said, don't like Trey. Well, Trey's not playing, brother. Trey's not playing. Said JB the best point guard. In the East. We also have a couple of games tipping off. Cavs, Wizards tipping off. Pacers, 76ers tipping off. Bulls, Hornets tipping off. So we'll go around the league. We'll keep everything covered. But of course, we got our game going on tonight. So let's get our game cast going. Go. Also get this set up so we can keep going around the league and keeping track of what's going on. Here we go. Here we go. Good games on tonight. Some good games, some important games, especially for the East. Should you be keeping track of that? I am, and we are, for the most part here in the community. And the Atlanta Hawks win the tip, and we are off and running. Daniels has it up top, coming to his left to get it over to Okongwu. Okongwu back to Daniels. Daniels coming to his right, hands it off to Johnson. Johnson over the top pass. Alexander-Walker wide open. Left wing three. Knocks it down for the first basket of the game. Detroit doesn't have 1 point. And it is 0-3 to start. Really nice start for Atlanta. Great play to start to get Alexander-Walker wide open. The last time we watched these two teams play, Detroit managed to pull it off against Atlanta and what ended up being a pretty close game at the end of there. Harris has it up top, attacking to his left. Gets it to the lane. Little pull-up jumper. Got it to go over Okongwu. Good strong move from the veteran to get him started. Daniels looking to quickly attack, hands it off to Okongwu, blows past the defense in the lane, scoop blade with the right hand, smokes it. Here comes Thompson bringing it down the other way. Hit a head pass to Duncan Robinson, right corner three, no hesitation. Too long, can't get it to go. Risacher with the rebound, knocked out of his hands by Thompson. Duren able to pick it up, out to the Harris. Euro steps down the lane, gets stripped, out of bounds. It's going to remain with Detroit. Johnson came up hobbling just a little bit after he bumped knees with Harris on the previous offensive play. Cunningham will inbound it. They get it into Harris. Harris on the right wing. Over to Robinson, curling off the screen. Alexander-Walker closing the airspace to get it out to Duren. Back to Cunningham. Up top, coming to his left, spins to his right. Being guarded by Alexander-Walker. Foul line, fall-away jumper. Got it to go for Cade Cunningham. Loves to live out of that foul line range. Can't get all the way into the paint. Expect him to turn right back and shoot that fall-away foul line jumper. He's very good, very consistent with it. Alexander-Walker gets it over to Johnson. Johnson coming down to his right, loses the handle, picks it back up. Fall-away foul line jumper from him. Can't get that one to go. Robinson with the rebound. Here comes Cunningham bringing it down the other way. Hit ahead pass to Thompson. Thompson in and out dribble to his right. Gets a full lane to the rim. Smokes the layup there. And now here comes Daniels bringing it down the other way. Daniels going to put his head down, attack into the paint. Scoop layup. Underhanded. Got it to go past Tobias Harris. You smoke a layup on one end. Usually going to give up a good layup on the other end. Cunningham up top to get it over to Duren. Duren being guarded by Okongwu. Crosses over to his left in the lane. Pump fakes, puts it up to the left hand. Gets it to go. Just using his size and his strength past Okongwu there. Okongwu had good positioning, but just too small to be consistently a good starting center, I think, which is why I'd like to see him play alongside another big man, especially now that he's shooting it well from three. Johnson has it up top, attacking to his right. Hesitates, kicks it in the corner. Okongwu wide open from three. Airballs that one. Thompson with the rebound. Here comes Duncan Robinson over to Duren. Down the middle of the lane, throws it to nobody. No, it was knocked out of the air. They're going to keep it with Detroit. Niall Dimitri, what's up, Niall? The officials are going to talk it over. And they're not going to change the call. Tobias Harris with the pump fake, drives it down, gets blocked by Okongwu at the rim. Atlanta pushing it the other way, out of the left corner. Alexander-Walker knocks down his second three of the game already. 8-6. Great start for Alexander-Walker. Pretty good start for Atlanta here. Thompson has it up top to get it over to Cunningham. Cunningham being guarded by Daniels. Coming to his left, off the screen, pocket pass to Duren, down the middle of the lane. Pass fake, kicks it back out. Cunningham a three. I think they'll live with that one, but he makes them pay, knocking it down. Right? If you're guarding Detroit, you'll live with Cade Cunningham having to shoot pull-up threes all night long. And they get Thompson with a foul, pushing, who was that, Alexander-Walker down to the ground as Alexander-Walker was trying to set the screen. So the Hawks will inbound it here. Down by one, 9-8. Both these teams going back and forth so far to start. Johnson gets it into Daniels. Under 9 to go. Daniels has it up top, directing some traffic. Get over to Johnson. Foul line, throws up the lob to Okongwu, catches it in the paint, kicks it out. Alexander-Walker, left corner three, same spot, different result as he misses it. Fight for the rebound. Duren pulls it out. Here comes Cade Cunningham bringing it down the other way. Full head of steam, hesitates, crosses over, pulls it back out, gets it over to Thompson. Attacking the paint, Euro step, gets into the lane, gets swatted, but picks up his own loose ball and throws it down with two hands that time. Said he'd block this one. He said, block this one. May have gotten the floater attempt, but you're not going to get the dunk. Daniels down the lane, kicks out to Risacher, deep left corner three for him, and he gets it to go. And right now, Atlanta living out of that deep left corner. Second, they call it a long two. Unfortunate for Risacher and the Hawks. 11-10. They're living out of that deep left corner right there. Third shot attempt from that spot. Duren has it up top to get it to Cunningham in the post, being guarded by Daniels. Hits Duren, cutting down the middle of the lane, and he gets fouled by Risacher, sending him to the foul line for 2 free throws. Bad double team there for the Atlanta Hawks. Just made it a very easy pass on a give and go between Duren and Cunningham. So Duren's at the foul line for 2, and he misses a free throw. Can't be missing free throws. But, I'll take, missed free throws from big men. They get a little bit more leeway because they're historically terrible free throw shooters. Duren shooting at about 75% from the foul line this year. Missed the first one, but he does rattle in the second one, giving them a 2-point lead. Good start to the game so far. Both of these teams have nice energy. Daniels gets it over to Okongwu, back to Daniels, down the lane, throws up the floater over Duren, can't get it to go. Battle for the loose ball. Daniels had it, lost it, it's on the floor, still loose. Harris able to pick it up. And here comes Cunningham bringing it down the other way. He's got a full head of steam, trying to beat the defense down the court. Kicks it out. Duncan Robinson, right corner three, wide open. Splashes it, nothing but net. Great push from Cade Cunningham there. to generate the open look for Duncan Robinson. And the Hawks quickly trying to push the other way. Risacher in the lane, gets caught in the air, kicks it out. Alexander-Walker, right corner three this time, and he knocks it down. Atlanta doing the same thing to Detroit, quickly pushing the ball down the other way, and they get the 3 points right back. Cunningham has it up top, coming to his left off the Duren screen, gets caught in the air, leaves it off of Duren in the lane, just bullies his way to the basket, but gets stripped down low, and then it's off of Duren, ball going back to the Hawks. Duren trying to play a little bit of bully ball, but Atlanta saw it coming as they got their guards digging down low, slapping at the ball. Johnson has it up top, attacking to his left, stops, turns, spins, half spins, pump fake, gets Thompson caught in the air, but Johnson doesn't lean in, and they hit Jalen Johnson with a turnover, traveling. Johnson got him in the air with the pump fake. He lost his balance and he couldn't lean into Thompson caught in the air. Ended up traveling with it. Here comes Cunningham bringing it down the other way. Cunningham gets it over to Thompson. Thompson over to Robinson, coming to his left, dancing around the screen, puts up the one dribble three, in and out, can't get it to stay. Johnson with the rebound, he's bringing it down the other way. Johnson coming to his right, behind the back, coming to his left, down the lane, he's got space all the way, tried to go for the one-handed hammer, and they hit him with a charge as Duncan Robinson stepped in, and Robinson said, give me a minute before you help me up. That was a tough hit. It was a tough hit. Johnson came in hot, looking for the poster dunk, but couldn't quite make it. Nick Yag, what's up, Yag? Let's go, Hawks. Makes sense if you're a Knicks fan to root for the Hawks tonight. Detroit sitting with the number 1 seed, only 2 games ahead of the Knicks. Timeout here from the Pistons. Going to get a full 60 seconds here. So we got Bulls, Hornets also tipping off here. That's close so far. I mean, that's bottom of the barrel. Not all that worried about either one of those teams. We got Hawks, Pistons. Obviously, the game we're coming tonight. Pacers, 76ers. Interesting game considering the Pacers playing significantly better, getting a lot of their players back from injury. But the Pacers also playing pretty well. They're 13-10. Pacers 6-18. And then you got the Wizards taking on the Cavs. And the Cavs had a rough up and down season all year long, although they should not be too concerned about going up against the Wizards here tonight. 20-17 so far here. Coro White, what's up, Coro? Late West games, you got Jazz, Grizzlies, you got Nets, Mavs, you got Timberwolves, Warriors. Speaking of the Timberwolves, speaking of the Minnesota Timberwolves, report came out today from Chris Persianen, rising star in the reporting game, especially for Knicks fans, who's been around Knicks Twitter for a long time now and making his way now into the larger media market as a reporter. He had a little bit of a scoop in which he reported that the New York Knicks have had exploratory discussions, even going back to last year, about the New York Knicks reacquiring Dante DiVincenzo. Dante DiVincenzo was a New York Knick 2 years ago. Was a Knick for 1 season. Was so good that season. I mean, he set the single game record for most three-pointers made, set the season record for most three-pointers made in Knicks history. Dante DiVincenzo is a beloved Knick, and it was sad to see him go. It's also particularly sad to see him go, considering the Knicks acquired the final infinity piece, the final infinity stone of the Nova Boys gauntlet in terms of finally acquiring Mikal Bridges onto the Knicks. And then obviously Dante had to be traded along with Julius Randle in order to acquire Anthony Towns. I think everybody would love to see Dante DiVincenzo wear a Knicks uniform again. It seems like the team also would like to reacquire Dante DiVincenzo, as the reports are flying now about how Knicks have been trying to make it work for a while. Yak said, what's with the Dante noise about what $12 million we giving him? In order for the trade to work, it would have to be like a 3-team deal, which is not impossible, especially considering that there are teams like Minnesota who wants a backup guard. As Risacher comes in, we're back into it. We'll get to the Dante talk in a second. Good defense there for the Hawks to break up the lob attempt to Thompson. Johnson has it up top, dancing with it against Duren. Leaves it off for Vic Krejci, who's now in the game. They get it over to Daniels. Daniels up top, attacking to his left, spins to his right. Bump, spin, can't get the little push shot to go. Mo Gay with the rebound and gets tied up by Thompson. It's going to be a jump ball between Mo Gay and Thompson. Daniel Tuzin said, I don't want him back. Why, Daniel? Why? Literally no downsides to getting Dante back. Why would you not want him back, Daniel? Joel Palin, what's up, Joel? Jump ball between Mogay and Thompson. Cade Cunningham able to steal it away from Jalen Johnson, and he goes all the way for the one-handed hammer in transition there. Bad play there for the Atlanta Hawks, who just did not have good floor balance and allowed Cade Cunningham to get a free lane to the basket. Jalen Johnson has it up top, being guarded by Thompson. Coming to his left off the Mogay screen, driving it down in the paint, gets caught in the air, kicks it out. Risacher, a right wing three, wide open. Great creation from Jalen Johnson there. Daniels with the long rebound off the miss. Hands it off to Krejci, back to Daniels, attacking to his left. Bump Euro in the paint, kicks it out. Mogay, left corner three. He's got space, and he knocks it down. Mogay. Low-key a Mogay fan. I really like Mogay. He's got some stuff to him. Reminds me a little bit of the Knicks rookie Mo Diawara. Harris has it on the right wing. They swing it around. Duncan Robinson, left corner three. That's not the guy I'd like to leave open if I was the Atlanta Hawks, and Duncan Robinson makes him pay for it by knocking that one down. I think that's his third of three of the game so far. Definitely a second at least. Johnson has it up top, attacking to his left, gets under the rim, has nowhere to go, leaves it off for Daniels in the paint, and he knocks down the little floater. And these teams going back and forth. Really good offensive execution. Not the greatest defense we've seen, but really good offensive execution from both sides, really. Jalen Duren has in the paint and just muscles his way through the chest of Vic Krejci. And he gets the easy two-handed slam. If you're Krejci there, you can't look to just stand there like this. You got to look to take a charge, or you got to look to slap down at the ball. Daniels down the lane, leaves it off for Risacher, has it in the paint, he's got nowhere to go, leans in, little fall away, push shot, got it to go over Duren. Nice, confident move from Risacher. And here comes Cade Cunningham bringing it down, has it on the right wing, hands it off to Thompson. Thompson coming to his left, has a lane, stops, turns, spins, little fall away over Mogay. Too strong, bouncing on the rim a couple times, and he gets a friendly roll. Bounced on the rim 3 times before eventually falling down. Daniels has it up top, hands it off to Johnson. Johnson, jab step, coming to his left, dancing with it now. Now coming to his left, off the Thompson screen. Stop, turn, fall away. And Jalen Johnson gets his first basket of the game off the fall away jumper over Ausar Thompson. And again, both of these teams going back and forth, trading baskets here. Cunningham has it up top, being guarded by Daniels. Coming to is right off the Duncan Robinson screen. Cunningham, now back to Robinson. They run him off the line. In the middle of the lane, pump fake, steps through. He's got nowhere to go. Hits Harris, comes to the rim. Bullies his way to the basket. Can knock down the floater. Offensive rebound from Thompson, and then he throws it away. And all going back to the Hawks here. Daniel Tucson said, just don't like him? But why, though? But why? Literally has one of the most iconic recent shots in Knicks history. Set the single game record for most three-pointers made. Set the single season record for most three-pointers made. Was there not to like, brother? Yak said, we're not trading Mitch for another two-guard room, and I love Dante. They might look to trade Mitch just because he's due for a contract at the end of the season, which they may not be comfortable giving it to him if they're far apart in their negotiations, or just may not be comfortable giving it to him based off of his injury history. As Okongwu turns it over, hit ahead. Couple of new players in here for the Pistons. Chaz Lanier leaves it off for Duren. Easy two-handed slam in the paint. And he's looking for a foul call he's not going to get. 3:30 to go. Right? They may be ready to give Huck Porty that opportunity, Yak. Who knows? Who knows? They may like what they see from Huck Porty. May be ready to move on from Mitch, considering all that surrounds him with the injury history and the need to have to pay him in the offseason. And then Chaz Lanier just loses the handle. Okongwu picks it up. Krejci has it up top. Leaves it off for Kennard, pump fakes, leaves it off for Krejci, open three, sets his feet and fires, and he gets it to go. Having a fantastic year from three-point range for Vic Krejci. They get it over to Paul Reed, back to Cunningham, coming to his left, leans in, draws the foul. He's going to go to the foul line for 2 free throws. 2:51 to go here. You know, I love Mitch just as much as the next person, Yak. But they may decide if we're not going to be able to re-sign him in the offseason, that it's time to move on. Now, I don't entirely agree with that sentiment just because what is, again, to move Mitchell Robinson in that deal would mean that you are, one, trusting Ariel Huck Porty, two, acquiring another big in the deal, but it would also likely mean that it's going to have to be a three-way deal. And with the rumors flying that Minnesota is eyeing Kobe White from Chicago, that is where the other team would come into play, right? Maybe Robinson goes to Chicago, and then Kobe White goes to Minnesota, and then Dante finds his way back to New York. But, there's a lot of factors to think about it. Like, do you want to give up Mitchell Robinson after you know what he can provide you in a playoff setting when you're looking to win a championship this year? Do you trust Mitchell Robinson in a game against the Oklahoma City Thunder with how good they are defensively? Like, is his rebounding going to be good enough in order to impact that series, considering he's not going to be able to give you much offensively? Yak said, who ups more against the Pistons and Orlando, another two-guard, rumor Mitch? Our best chance to get a chip? Yeah, I don't agree. I don't disagree. I'm sure if there was a way, there is a way to get Dante DiVincenzo without having to give up Mitchell Robinson. Pretty difficult. It would include a lot of moving parts for the Knicks. I could be wrong. Maybe there is no way. But I do think that there is a way to get Dante DiVincenzo back wearing a Knicks uniform without having to give up Mitchell Robinson. The issue with Mitch is, the issues with Mitch. And I love Mitch. And I'm as big of a Mitch supporter as you. Yeah, you hear me all the time fighting for Mitchell Robinson here all the time against all the Mitchell Robinson haters in the chat. But the issue with Mitch is twofold. They have to pay him in the offseason, number one. They may not be comfortable doing that with his injury history. And then, do they trust the fact that he will be healthy for the playoff run? Right? He's never played a full season and then been healthy for the playoffs after that. So, JLV said, little request, can you announce the score for us? Bad listener from the Philippines. I got you, JLV. I got you. It's 26-25 right now. It's a back and forth affair. We announce it all night long. Yak, also in theory, you would also be moving on from Clarkson. In theory, you're also moving on from Clarkson just so you could have Dante DiVincenzo kind of play that role extremely well. Cunningham misses the first free throw. Can't be missing free throws, Cade. Can't be missing free throws. Just under 3 minutes to go here. 26-25. Detroit holding on to a 1-point lead. K. Hazy, what's up, K. Hazy? Cunningham goes 0 for 2 from the foul line. Alexander-Walker with the rebound can go 0 for 2, Cade. Can go 0 for 2. Alexander-Walker has it up top. You get over to Luke Kennard. Kennard gets it up top to Okongwu. Okongwu, back to Kennard, cutting back door, gets into the paint, tries to kick it in the corner, knocked out of bounds by LeVert. 2:30 to go. Hey, Hazy said this might be his last chance, but if he wins us the finals, things will look very different. For Mitchell Robinson, for sure. Things will always look different if you can put a championship ring on the table. Jack said, we'll have a hard time winning a 7-game series, without Mitch. You're not wrong. I know. I'm with you. Alexander-Walker misses the 3, but Mo Gay comes flying in and gets the tip over Ron Holland, who missed time to jump. And Atlanta retakes the 1-point lead here. 2:30 to go. Stewart has it up top, being guarded by Okongwu. He's in the game for the first time. Stewart's going to dance with it against Okongwu. Stops, turns, half spin in the paint, flips it up, gets it to go. Beautiful move from Isaiah Stewart there. Alexander-Walker over to Okongwu, hands it off to Vic Krejci. Krejci down the lane, stops, turns, fall-away jumper in the paint, gets it to go. And again, these teams are just trading baskets. 29-28 now, under 2. Oh, is that Dennis Jenkins down the lane? Leaves it off for Ivey, who misses the reverse layup. But Ron Holland right there for the tip dunk. And neither team able to come up with a stop here these last couple of possessions. Okongwu has it up top, hands it off to Krejci. Krejci coming to his right, hesitates from 3, tried to hit the pocket pass, but knocked out of bounds by the Pistons. Buzzer beater, what's up, buzzer beater? And the Gamecast is too big for you guys. Too big. My bad. There you go. Okongwu has it in the paint and gives a little half-spin push shot right back to Isaiah Stewart, who waved it off and was like, we're not worried about that shot. Jenkins dancing around the Stewart screen, behind the back pass, up top to Paul Reed, driving to his left, down the lane, goes up in the air, can't get the layup to go. Stewart with the rebound, but they call a whistle and a foul on Isaiah Stewart. That was LeVert attacking the basket, by the way, not Paul Reed. My bad. Kevin PK, what's up, Kev? Luckily, he says the score all the time. This goes to the guy in the Philippines. Yeah, I try to keep you guys updated all the time. 31-30 here with a minute to go here in the first quarter. Vic Krejci bringing it down, being guarded by LeVert. They get it over to Alexander-Walker. Swings through to his right off the Okongwu screen in the corner to Mo Gay. Mo Gay hands it off to Krejci. Good defense out there. Back to Okongwu, back to Krejci. Krejci puts up the three off the handoff. In and out, can't get it to go. Bounces on the rim a couple of times. Stewart mistimed his jump, but still able to grab the rebound. And Dennis Jenkins bringing it down now. Finally a stop for the Pistons there as Atlanta's up by 1, 31-30. Paul Reed on LeVert gets it out to Stewart. Stewart a straightaway three. Can't get that one to go. Battle for the loose ball rebound. Ivey able to save it. Out to Holland. Holland down the lane. Euro step. Gets the finish to go from Ron Holland. Vic Krejci has been terrible with the trying to draw a charge. That's the second time he's tried to draw a charge and has just completely been brushed by the offensive player. Yeah, I said, no, it's coming soon. Knicks OKC with Hartenstein out. Yep. Which is why I think it's super important that the Knicks make it to that matchup. If OKC also makes it, I think it's important for both those teams to make it to the finals in order for the Knicks to be able to evaluate where they stand in terms of going up against the best team in the league, right? Evaluate where you stand, right? Because if they play that team with no Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson has a bad game, I think they'll look at it and they'll go, okay, in a potential finals matchup, how important is Mitchell Robinson when going up against this team? I predict he'll be very important, especially with Hartenstein available, but without Hartenstein, I do predict he'll be very important just because you need a guy down there to bang down low, help guard the paint against SGA's constant drives and J-Dub's constant drives, but we'll see. We'll just see how they match up. It's going to be great. Alexander-Walker has it up top and gets fouled by Dennis Jenkins coming off a screen. 23 seconds to go. 32-31. Detroit up by 1. Chi-Chi, what's up, Chi-Chi? People here talking about Mrs. Michael? Like he's Elijah one. Talking about my man Mitchell Robinson. Come on, dog. I'd take Luke Cornett over Robinson any day. At least he would guarantee us more 20 games effectively. You're not. I mean, that's not out of this. That's not crazy to want Luke Cornett over Mitchell Robinson. Luke Cornett's a very good rim protector. He's a pretty good rebounder. He's not nearly the rebounder Mitchell Robinson is, but he's more consistent, right? You're taking away the eliteness that you get from Mitchell Robinson, but you get more consistency from Luke Cornett. Not crazy to want Luke Cornett over him, brother. Namar, what's up, Namar? Can't wait to bring Dante DiVincenzo back home. That's if they could pull it off. They were in the bonus, by the way, so Alexander-Walker went to the foul line and he knocked down both of them. Caris LeVert has it up top, being guarded by Keaton Wallace. LeVert coming to his right, stumbles, almost falls out of bounds, picks up his handle, now coming to his left, down the lane, pump fakes, fall-away jumper over Okongwu, off the front rim, can't get it to go, battle for the tip, and a foul on the Ron Holland attempt, which he couldn't get it to go down, but he will go to the foul line for 2 free throws with 1.8 left to go. Just that, did Alexander-Walker an all-star? Probably not. Not at 20 points per game and only 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Probably not. It'll be Jalen Johnson. Atlanta's not going to get 2 all-stars. Jalen Johnson will get the all-star nod. I'm sure his name will come up, though, just as that. Like, people will give him, like, hey, he's having a career year. Shout out to him. But he's not going to make the all-star team. Not even going to be seriously considered for it. Ron Holland at the foul line knocks down the first free throw. GG said, and to think the Knicks had him and got rid of him. Yeah, like, almost 10 years ago at this point, right? Like, they got rid of him almost 10 years. Yeah, the Knicks were going to hold on to him and develop him for the next 8 years for him to actually become good at basketball. That's not how that works, brother. Detroit knocks down both free throws. Holland knocks down both free throws. Half-court heap can't get it to go, and that would be the end of the first quarter here. 34-33, Detroit with a 1-point lead. Doug Fresh said if Atlanta gets Davis as their center, it's war. Yeah. I mean, we'll see what they'd have to give up. But, yeah. You know, obviously it would be Trae Young, but also, you know, what else? Okongwu, Porzingis. You know, if it's Trae Young and Porzingis, they do that deal in a heartbeat. But why would Dallas want to do that? We're going to go around the league a little bit here. So we're at the end of the first quarter here. Bulls Hornets just tipped off their second quarter. Nipple's going off. He had 12 in the first. We got a Pacers 76ers close game. Keep an eye on that one. I'm rooting for Indiana to win just because I don't want to see Indiana end up with a lottery pick. Really don't want to see that. Yeah, I said, how did KP play? I didn't hear his name. KP is not playing today. Kristaps Porzingis is not playing today. So, remains out with some illness, calf strain, something. It's always something like that. Who knows? Cavs Wizards. Cavs have finally opened up a bit of a lead here, 7-point lead for them against Washington. They should not have an issue with Washington tonight. They are sitting at 14 and 11. I did say we wanted to go over the box score, not the box scores, but around the league from yesterday's slate of games. Rockets beat the Clippers, to be expected, although it was a close game. Bucks dominated the Celtics in the second half there. I mean, 13 third quarter points for the Celtics, 21 fourth quarter points. Wasn't even particularly close after that third quarter. 116, 115. Jalen Brown went off for 30, but Bobby Portis gave him 27 and 10. Terrible loss for the Boston Celtics. They're now 15 and 10 after a lot of people were like, can they win the East? And then they lost to a Giannis-less Milwaukee Bucks. Doug Fresh said East is getting tougher. I think the East is plenty tough. I think people downplay the East all the time just because I think advanced analytics are always going to probably favor Western Conference teams because they tend to just play faster and have more opportunities for stuff like that. So, Gigi said, Chef, since the Clippers are messed up, do you think that Zubac would do us better than breaking up our current core for Giannis? Maybe, but you still can't get Zubac without breaking up your core, brother. How are you getting Zubac? Who are you trading for Zubac? You'd have to trade Bridges or Hart or Anunoby. Jenkins gets it up top. We're already starting the second quarter here. Beautiful. Love to see it. LeVert driving it down, leaves it off for Stewart. Easy layup. Got it to go. Beautiful driving kick from Caris LeVert there. He's having a pretty nice playmaking game here tonight. 3-point lead for Detroit has opened up, 36-33 to start the second here. Okongwu gets it over to Kennard. Kennard steps back for a right wing three. Way off, can't get it to go. Good defense from Stewart there. LeVert picks it up. LeVert stumbling all over the court, looks back at the ref like, come on, man, get your balance right. It's like the fourth time already you've stumbled over your own feet. They get it out up top to Javonte Green, gets it over to Holland. Holland driving it down, leaves it off for Stewart. Big one-handed hammer in the paint, trying to send a message down there, as now Detroit is driving and kicking all over Atlanta right now as they're getting their defense completely broken down. They get it over to Okongwu, hands it off to Kennard, who gets knocked out of his hands by LeVert. LeVert making plays on both sides of the court right now. And Detroit will get the ball back. Gigi said Robinson, Deuce, and Clarkson. And why, Gigi, would the Clippers give a damn about Robinson or Deuce or Clarkson? Give me one reason why the Clippers would give a damn about either one of those guys for a borderline all-star center, dog. Get off of 2K, man. You got to get off of 2K. None of your trades have ever made sense, Gigi. Not a single one of them. Nick Yak said, us losing to the Celtics is a horrible loss. It's not a horrible loss because they were playing fantastic basketball. They were playing absolutely fantastic basketball. The Knicks were down OG Anunoby. And Jalen Brown had one of the best games of his career. I mean, he played damn near a perfect game. So, it happens. It happens. Not a horrible loss at all. Ron Holland got fouled going to the basket. So he's at the foul line for 2 free throws here. Made the first one, makes the second one, giving them a 7-point lead here. Keaton Wallace bringing it down. Oh, don't even have the game cast up. Yeah, never remind me. Wallace gets it out to Kennard. Kennard back out to Wallace. A right wing three for Keaton Wallace. No hesitation. Knocks it down. Exactly what you needed. To kind of break the seal there for the Hawks there, who's struggling. Dennis Jenkins gets it out to LeVert. Hesitates from 3. Swings through to his left. Down the lane. Picks up his handle. Kicks it up top to Jenkins. He's trying to answer back with a 3 of his own. And he does just that. Knocking it down from straight away. Anything you can do, I can do better offense. Here comes Keaton Wallace bringing it down the other way. Coming to his right. Gets bumped by Dennis Jenkins, and they call a foul on him. Razan Green? What's up, Rays? Put Daniels back in. He'll come in at some point, brother. Come in at some point. It is a 7-point lead here for Detroit, 43-36 with 10 minutes to go. They get it over to Daniels. Daniels is over to Johnson. Back to Daniels, coming to his left, driving it down in the lane. Takes it out to Johnson, hesitates. He's going to drive the lane, leaves it off for Risacher. Nice layup for Risacher over Isaiah Stewart there. Got it to go. Good finish from him. They get it over to LeVert on the other end for Detroit. LeVert, inside pass to Stewart in the paint, flips it up to the left hand. Got that one to go. Stewart, excellent finisher down low once he receives the pass. Here comes Johnson bringing it down the other way, looking to answer. Atlanta really struggling to get stops right now. A dribble pull-up three for Jalen Johnson. Can't get it to go. Javonte Green with the rebound. Hit ahead to LeVert. LeVert bringing it down. He's doing a really good job of controlling the offense right now. LeVert up top to get it over to Green. Back to LeVert. LeVert coming to his right. Pulls it back. Dancing with it against Risacher. They swing it out to Ron Holland. Tries to bully his way into the paint and draws a foul on Daniels. Robes Pierre. What's up, Robes? The Battle Royale of the Turnover Kings? Are we talking about the Pistons? The Turnover Kings? Are they the Pistons? Dennis Jenkins has it up top off the inbounds. They get it over. Caris LeVert, wide open, straightaway three. Off the back rim, can't get it to go. Johnson with the rebound, bringing it down. Leaves it off for Kennard. Hit ahead to Daniels. Daniels, in and out dribble. Stops, turns, hands it off. Johnson hesitates from three. He's being guarded by Holland. Going to look to put him in the post. Stops, turns, coming to his left, hesitates, and gets doubled down by Jenkins, who knocks it out of his hands out of bounds. But at least it'll remain with Atlanta here. Kennard gets it into Risacher, kicks it out to Johnson. Johnson bringing it down, gets it over to Daniels, swings through down the lane, kicks it out. Jalen Johnson, wide open straightaway three, and he gets that one to go down. 45-41, 4-point game. And it looks like Atlanta in a little bit of a matchup zone here. They get it up top to LeVert. No, back to regular man-to-man. Now over to Johnson. Johnson hands it off to Jenkins. Dancing with it against Kennard. Pulls it back out. Shot clock winding down. Got to make something out of nothing. Leans in. Gets the nice layup to go against the contact. No foul call. Good move from Dennis Jenkins there. Had to make something out of nothing with the shot clock winding down, and he did just that. They hand it off to Kennard. Kennard over to Johnson. Johnson on the right wing. Gets it over to Risacher. That's not Risacher. I knew it wasn't Risacher. Who was that? Ausar? Yeah, Ausar Newell. Chucked up the right corner three. Way off. Threw up the air ball. Wasn't even close. Yeah, like I said, we waited too long to put Bridges on Brown and make him work over overpowered McBride. Nobody guarded Jaylen Brown well that night. Not Bridges, not McBride, definitely not Brunson. Nobody did. And the Atlanta Hawks completely turn it over off the inbounds. Javonte Green down the way, gets fouled by Newell. Going to send him to the foul line for 2 free throws. Terrible inbound pass and terrible attempt by Ausar Newell, the rookie, in order to get out to it. And communication there between Jalen Johnson, who was the guy who threw the inbound pass, and Ausar Newell. Rose Pierce said Cunningham and Trey. Well, Trey's not playing tonight, unfortunately. He still remains out. Hasn't played in, I think, a month now, over a month. Javonte Green at the foul line, knocks down the first free throw. And a timeout for Atlanta here, trying to ice the shooter, but also want to talk over a couple of things. Pretty good game here tonight, a back-and-forth affair. Detroit now separating themselves a little bit here. We'll see if Atlanta is going to be able to pull themselves back into it. Down by 7, 48-41. 8 minutes to go here in the second. Detroit building some momentum, though. Led by the one and only Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew, having a heck of a game tonight. And Caris LeVert. I talked about how Caris LeVert is the extreme version of an NBA wild card type of player, that archetype. but he has been very good tonight. Very impactful, making solid plays. Now, Dimitri said that would be so awesome to get Dante back if they could pull it off. Apparently, they also, contacted Minnesota going back to last season about possibly reacquiring Dante DiVincenzo. I think the thing with Minnesota, obviously the Knicks love Dante and would love to bring him back. But the issue is the money. The issue is also he's still really valuable to Minnesota. Minnesota needs a point guard, though. Like, they need a point guard. They're not going to be able to do anything without getting a point guard. Like, they thought they were going to solve the point guard issue when they drafted Rob Dillingham. Obviously has not worked out. He's even lost his rotation spot to Bones Highland at this point. So for the Minnesota Timberwolves, in order to take the next step, you don't want to waste any years you have it with Anthony Edwards. Rudy Gobert's not getting any younger and whatnot. So if you have an opportunity, you go for it. So what they need a point guard, right? And the reports is that they've kind of targeted Kobe White. The issue is that Chicago has historically been pretty difficult to make trades with. So in order to get a trade like that done without having to give up a ton of things, usually it involves multiple teams. When you start involving multiple teams, that's when the Knicks call up and they're like, hey, look, if you're looking to make a trade and you need some help, you'd always take Dante back. We'll see what we could send you back to you. So. Hey, Hazy said Kolek would actually be really helpful to Minnesota. Yeah, see, they might be interested in a Kolek. If you could send them Kolek, Clarkson, Gaudier, and again, the salary thing, I'm no expert in the salary, nor do I even care to look into whether or not I will not be opening up the trade machine. I guarantee you that. I will not be doing it. That is not a thing I care about, figuring out how the money works. I will simply tell you that the Knicks would probably value Dante DiVincenzo more than they value Mitchell Robinson. But we will see. We will see. Ray said, I need Daniels to take at least two-point attempt. You need him to take one more shot. Javonte Green knocks down his free throw. The second free throw, icing the shooter, did not work there. Under 8 minutes to go. Alexander-Walker is back in. And Atlanta finds themselves down by 8. Newell hands it off to Johnson. Johnson over to Newell down the lane, and he gets fouled by Stewart. Marin Barishaj. What's up, Marin? Side out of bounds here for Atlanta. Now Dimitri said, get Dante back and keep the Blockness monster if they can. If they can, that is a dream. That is a dream they have. They're also interested in Jose Alvarado, so we'll see. We'll see. Johnson has it, off the handoff, has it at the foul line. Pass fake, leans in, throws up the floater. Too strong, can't get it to go. Daniels battling on the glass, picks up an offensive rebound, pulls it back out. Great rebound for Daniels, and then he just throws it away. Terrible pass from Daniels, and here comes Ron Holland, shot out of a cannon, leaves it off to LeVert, sets his feet and fires, and knocks that three-point shot down. And now Detroit finds themselves up by double figures. We've been here before with this Atlanta Hawks team against Detroit. As Johnson throws it to nobody out of bounds, it's going to go back to Detroit. We've seen Atlanta fall apart against the Detroit team before. I thought tonight would be the night where it's like, no, we're not going to lose to them again. And yet here is Detroit just beating the snot out of them again here in the second quarter. Yeah, I said, how do we trade 4 players, get back 1, replace 3 spots with no money? Minimums. With minimums, league minimums. You could also convert two-way contracts to standard contracts at the minimum amount, and then sign new two-way guys. There's ways of doing it. Again, I'm no capologist. Ask somebody on the internet who knows far more than me. Listen, I make no distinction here. Terrible when it comes to cap minutia here. No idea. No idea. Nor do I care to try and understand it. That is not my lane. That is not my lane. I don't find it all that interesting trying to weave through all the dynamics of how the cap works and the money works in order to stay under the second apron, but above the first apron. And if you're above the first apron, what kind of restrictions do you have in order to trade players and sign players, and who can sign what kind of contract depending on the amount of years you have. Not my business. Not what I find interesting when it comes to the NBA. But like I said, there are ways to do it. You can get very creative in the NBA. Teams do it all the time. Even when you find fans who, like Jeremy Cohen on Twitter, dives into the cap minutia all the time. There are things that the Knicks do where it's like, oh, I didn't even know you could do that. Like this is like on page 337 of the cap manual, right, of the CBA, right? You have to read the whole thing in order to figure out that you could actually make this kind of move. You know, like the Knicks did the thing where when they traded for Karl-Anthony Towns, they signed guys. Because of where they were in the cap, they were incapable of trading away players on the minimum, right? That was one of the weird rules that was in the cap. So what they did is they signed players $1 over the minimum and then traded them. So all the money still made sense, and they were still a minimum player without technically being a minimum player. So again, not my lane. Don't really care to really investigate how they could get it done. All I know is that they're interested in getting done, and if they're interested in getting it done, I trust guys like Brock Aller and Leon Rose, Gerson Rosas, guys who have been in the NBA front office around the league and are money people in order to figure out how to make the money work. Not my business to really care, though. All I do know is that if they make a trade and Mitchell Robinson is involved, there is good reason, considering that he has been in their organization the longest. They know him. They know his personality. They also know his injury history. So we will see where they move and what they truly value. They may just inquire about Dante, and they may say, we can't give up Mitch for him. Keep in touch, though. If you ever do want to move him, make sure we're the first call. It could just be those kind of conversations, and then they may make a smaller move, like going for Jose Alvarado to replace a guy like Clarkson or something. You know, we'll see. Yeah, like I said, I can't see 4 players worth $12 million getting one back worth $12 million replace 3 players. Like I said, Yak, I don't really care to dive into it. I do know that you can convert contracts, the two-way contracts that you have, in order to make certain money work and whatnot. As we're back into when Jalen Johnson misses another free throw. But there are ways to get very creative. This is not just this is what you have and now work with it. You can make things work if you needed to. Jenkins driving it down in the lane, draws a foul. He's going to go to the foul line for 2 free throws here with 7 minutes to go. AP, what's up, AP? When are we going to see the Pistons play a team not low in the standings? You're seeing it right now with the Hawks. What are the Hawks? Where are they in the standings? Speaking of, as Jenkins is going to go to the foul line for 2. The Hawks are what? Oh, they're 9th. They're 14 and 11 though. They're tied for 7 and 6. Like they're right there. Pretty decent team, right? They've kind of had their number all season though. But you say that, and also the Oklahoma City Thunder have not played anybody worth talking about. They played Minnesota, which is like eh. They played the Lakers, which is definitely eh. And they played the Houston Rockets in the first game of the year. So, have yet to play the Spurs. Have yet to play the Nuggets. They've played a lot of these teams down here. That's majority of their schedule so far. So, they even played games against Washington. We also got a technical on Quinn Snyder. So, Dennis Jenkins just knocked down the 3-point technical. Yak said, when we play them, we can give them a few losses. Yeah, exactly. Yak said, Wolves need a center. Why? Who's the third team? Possibly Chicago. They're hitting up Chicago. They need a guard more than anything. They need a guard. They do need a backup center, which is where maybe Mitchell Robinson may be of interest to them. They could also pick up a guard like Kobe White in the trade, so they can get Kobe White and Mitchell Robinson in one trade while sending DiVincenzo away. Like they might be interested in that. Actually, I'm sure they would be very interested in that. But would the Knicks be interested in that as well? Alexander-Walker down the lane, turns it over by trying to throw it off Okongwu, but they give it back to the Hawks. Hey, the Pistons tipped it. Dennis Jenkins knocked down all 3 free throws, by the way, so it's 55-41. And Detroit's going to use their challenge here. With 6:47 to go. They already have the 14-point lead. This is, again, scary for Atlanta. They're entering scary territory. So the coach used their challenge. They showed the replay there, and it very much looked like it was off of Okongwu, so they should win that challenge. The ball will go back to Detroit. AP said, every time I look up, the Pistons are playing some team low in the standings. Nice loss by the Celtics. Yeah. Look, Celtics lost to a team low in the standings. Great loss by them. Detroit gets a lot of Charlottes, a lot of Atlantas, a lot of Washingtons. Yeah, I mean, look, you could also look at the Knicks. Who the Knicks played. They haven't played anybody that impressive, right? That was a very easy challenge. We're already back. Thank goodness. They didn't take too long with it. Bulls need another Jordan to make it again. I mean, they had one in Rose, and then basketball god said, nope. Well, it was really Tom Thibodeau. Right, who did the Knicks play? They played Cleveland early in the year. They played Boston early in the year. They played Miami. Well, I guess they played Orlando and Miami a lot. That's true. Who else did they play that's good? I guess Milwaukee. I guess Toronto. Toronto without RJ has not been good, so they got lucky there. Like looking at it, it's like not a super. I mean, Miami and Orlando a couple of times, Minnesota, Chicago earlier in the year when they were actually good. So I guess the Knicks have had a little bit of a rough schedule, I guess. Not rough, but harder definitely than Detroit and Oklahoma City so far. Javonte Green lines up a three, can't get it to go. Long rebound, Johnson able to pick it up, and here we go. They get a stop. Let's see if they can get a score as they're down 14. Dyson Daniels up top behind the back, coming to his right, spins to his left, leaves it off for Johnson. Johnson has it in the post, leaves it off to Okongwu. Little flip in the paint, got the little push shot to go. Nice pass from Johnson. Nice shot making there from Okongwu, about 8 feet away. Cunningham has it on the right wing, going under the basket, gets caught in the air, leaves it off for LeVert, and LeVert draws the foul on Okongwu. He's going to go to the foul line for 2 free throws. Yeah, I said Orlando 3 times, Miami twice. Yeah. You guys are not wrong about that. You guys are definitely not wrong about that. He's got a lot of Orlando and Miami. Yeah, they've had a lot of Orlando and Miami. They're going to get Orlando yet again tomorrow. AP reminding people of the like button. Appreciate you, AP. If you're enjoying the show so far, go ahead and leave a like. I'd very much appreciate it. The best way to show support to the channel is to like the stream, hit the thumbs up button. LeVert knocks down the first free throw. He's got another one coming. LeVert goes 2-2 from the foul line. Here comes Daniels bringing it down the other way. Daniels picks up his handle. He's got nowhere to go. Leaves it off to Okongwu. Okongwu coming to his left. Hands it off to Krejci. Krejci, foul line, kicks it out. Daniels, 17% from 3. Gets worse as he misses that one. Not the guy I'd really be looking to line it up from three-point range right now as you find yourself down by 14 points. Thompson throws it away as he thought Cunningham was cutting back door. Good defense from the Hawks. Hit ahead to Krejci. Krejci on the right wing. Pump fakes. Dancing with it now. Gets it over the top to Okongwu. Hesitates from 3. Hands it off to Alexander-Walker. Down the lane. Throws up the floater. Got it to go. That's back-to-back buckets for Atlanta there. They're getting some stops. 12-point game. Can they make this interesting? Can they find themselves back into it? Detroit has the ball. Thompson gets it knocked out of his hands. Picks it back up in the backcourt. Leaves it off for Duren. Duren hands it up. Fakes the handoff. Now gets it over to LeVert. Swings through to his right. Down the lane. Stops. Pulls it back out. Over to Duren. Duren against Okongwu. Down the lane. Goes up against them. Can't get it to go. Good defense. Daniels with the rebound. Leaves it off for Johnson. Johnson's going to look to attack Cunningham. Blows past him in the lane. Gets it knocked out of his hands. Out of bounds. It's going to stay with Atlanta. Yeah, I said the league will look at the Knicks differently after we beat OKC. I mean, if any team can beat OKC at this point, the NBA world will start looking at them differently. That's for sure. They've had a very cupcake schedule. We can go through their schedule to start the year. Duren fouls Okongwu off a nice inbounds play, got him open under the basket. Duren came over for a nice block, but called the body contact. Going to send Okongwu to the foul line for 2 free throws. You can get it back to 10 here. We'll go through OKC's schedule because I was looking at it the other day, and boy, oh boy, have they had an absolute cupcake of a schedule. They've had so far, this is not hyperbole or exaggeration, the easiest schedule in the entirety of the NBA so far. And it's not particularly close to any other team. So, yes, they are the best team in the league. Yes, they still may win 70-plus games, but they have not been tested yet. They played a double overtime game to start the year against the Thunder. I mean, against the Thunder, played a double overtime game against the Houston Rockets, and then they didn't really face a good team after that. Like I said, they played the Lakers, which wasn't great, and then we'll look to see who played in that game because maybe Luka was out, but we'll see. Okongwu knocked down both. We'll go through the Thunder stuff at halftime. Duren goes under the basket, pump fakes, gets Okongwu in the air. And to return the favor, Okongwu ends up fouling. Duren's going to send him to the foul line for 2 free throws here. 57-47, 10-point lead for Detroit. Duren going back to the foul line for 2. Duren about a 75% foul line shooter. He misses a free throw. He missed one earlier in the night as well. Can't be missing free throws if you want to hold on to this lead. Duren does knock down the second one, though. 11-point lead here for Detroit. Under 5 to go here in the second quarter. Daniels driving it down, stops, gets it over to Okongwu, blows past Duren, scoop layup, gets swatted out of there by Duren. Went up way too weak there, Okongwu. Duren said, get that out of here. Robinson bringing it down, stops and pops straight away 3. Got it to go. Big time shot for Duncan Robinson to give his team some more momentum here. Daniels quickly trying to push it the other way, leaves it off for Okongwu. They swing it over to Johnson, back to Alexander-Walker, right corner 3 wide open, and he answers right back with a 3 of his own. Still hanging around here for Atlanta, not going away quietly, but still find themselves down by double figures. Cunningham has it up top, being guarded by Daniels. Cunningham dancing with it, coming to his right, off the screen. They show 2, cross-court pass, Robinson catches. Alexander-Walker does a good job closing the airspace to get it back up top to Harris. Now over to Duren. Duren up top, over the top pass to Harris. Harris catches, pump fakes, leans in, goes up, pump fakes again, gets the layup to go. Good veteran patience there for Tobias Harris to make sure he gets that 2-point basket. Johnson blowing past the defense, puts it up off glass. Tough shot. Good defense from Cunningham there. Bad decision there for Johnson to go one-on-one against 2 defenders. He misses the shot as it rolls off the side. They get it over to Harris. Swings through to his right, throws the ball ahead of him, turns it over, ball going back to Atlanta. Johnson bringing it down. Thompson going to pick him up. Johnson up top, coming to his right, blowing past the defense, kicks it out to Krejci, but knocked out of bounds by Harris. Side out of bounds for the Hawks here. Lamar said, you think trade on December 15, 2025? People can be traded by people who sign in the offseason can be traded on December 15th. That is why that date is so important. But the trade deadline is February 3rd, I believe. The Atlanta almost turns it over. Johnson luckily able to pick up the loose ball and then finds Okongwu wide open under the basket by himself. Serendipitous play there for Atlanta, keeping it at 2-11 here. A little over 3 minutes to go. Thompson has it on the left wing. They get it up top to Duren. Duren being guarded by Okongwu. Dancing with it. Swings through down the lane to his left. Puts up the righty floater. Maybe Okongwu got a piece of it as he threw up the floater. Gets it over to Alexander-Walker. Rushing it down the other way. Leaves it off for Okongwu. Back to Alexander-Walker. Wide open 3 on the relocation. Can't get the 3-point shot to go down, though. Harris with the rebound. He's bringing it down the other way. Harris up top. Inside to Duren being guarded by Okongwu. Bully balls his way to the basket. Flips it up the left hand. Gets it to go. Beautiful move from Jalen Duren there. Back up by 13. Detroit goes 65-52. Johnson has it up top. Dancing with it. Loses the handle. Doing too much there for Johnson. Vic Krejci picks it up. Hesitates. Blows past Harris. Gets into the lane. Tries to kick it out to Okongwu. Bad pass from him. Cunningham saw it the whole way. Picks it off. They get it over to Thompson. Thompson to the lane and gets the easy layup to go in transition there when he is at his best. Lead back up to 15. Ties the largest lead of the game with just 2 minutes to go here in the second. Okongwu spots up for a straightaway 3. Way off on that one. Johnson, the offensive rebound, goes up, gets the layup to go. If you're Atlanta, you probably want this at least a single-digit game going at halftime. You'd feel okay about that. Cunningham has it on the right wing, being guarded by Daniels. And he gets fouled by Johnson on the pass attempt. Joseph, what's up, Joseph? Yeah, I said, and they destroyed everyone like they should, but without Hartenstein, they lack size, and I hope we take advantage of inside playing none of this instead of playing 4-guard nonsense. They just don't have size, brother. They don't have size. They would play bigger if they had more size. Their third biggest wing is 6'5". You know what I mean? Like, they just don't have the size. They're going to lean into things that they do well. Cunningham knocks down both free throws. Back up by 15 they go. Jalen Johnson will bring it down. Johnson up top, coming to his right, driving it down. Takes it in the corner to Alexander-Walker, deep in the corner, pump fakes. Now he's going to look to attack in the lane, throws up a floater off glass, gets it to go. Tough move from Alexander-Walker. Didn't settle for the three-point shot. Got to the paint and knocked down the floater. Cunningham has it in the post against Vic Krejci. Going under the basket, kicks it up top. Harris fires away a three. Nice and open one. Off the back rim, can't get it to go, though. Okongwu with the rebound and throws it away right to Thompson's hands. Terrible pass from Okongwu. He's had a couple of those tonight. But Thompson can't get the floater to go. Daniels picks up the rebound. They get it over to Alexander-Walker. He's going to rush it down the other way. Hesitates, attacks to his left, and gets fouled by Tobias Harris, sending him to the foul line for 2 free throws. Good attack from Alexander-Walker. He saw Jalen Duren was still in the backcourt, and he said, I got to go. Whether I have the advantage or not, I got to put my head down and get to the basket. He did that, drew the foul. Now he's going to go to the foul line for 2 with 1 minute to go here in the second quarter. Joseph said, I'm just here to watch some basketball. Not a fan of either team, just here to watch basketball. Me too, brother. Me too. Not a fan of either team either. Just here to watch some basketball with you. Joseph dad said Atlanta's 10 turnovers. I think 3 or 4 of them have been just really bad turnovers where they just have literally accidentally thrown the ball right into the Pistons' hands. Alexander-Walker knocks down both free throws for him. 11-point game. They can get one more stop, one more score, make it a single-digit game going to the halftime. I'll feel okay as a Hawks fan. Thompson gets it over to Cunningham, left wing, pump fake, swings through to his right, mid-range pull-up jumper, good move from him. Can't get the friendly bounce on the missed jumper, though. Battle for the loose ball rebound. Okongwu had it, ripped out of his hands by Cunningham. Okongwu just got to be stronger with the ball, dude. That's multiple times tonight where I just felt like they just taking it out of your hands like a baby. Thompson has it up top, hands it off to Harris. Harris being guarded by Daniels to get over to Thompson. Thompson has it in the mid-range, being guarded by Johnson. Mid-range pull-up jumper from him. Too strong, can't get it to go. Battle for the loose ball rebound, out of bounds, off of Cunningham. Ball is going to go back to Atlanta. So they finally got the stop. They had to get 2 stops, but stopped them both times. And now here comes Jalen Johnson bringing it down the other way. Johnson has it up top, being guarded by Thompson. Johnson's going to look to dance with it. Coming to his left. Over to Daniels. Nice manipulation from Johnson down there. They stunted 2 out. They hedged out hard. Johnson able to hit Dyson Daniels, slipping to the rim off the screen for an easy 2-handed slam. But they can get one more stop here. They can go in down by 9, which I wouldn't feel awful about. Cunningham a pull-up 3, though. Can't get that one to go. Battle for the rebound. Johnson able to grab it. And that will be the end of the first half. And again, down by 9. Not what you want if you're Atlanta, but considering you were down by as many as 15, 9-point deficit at halftime, a single-digit deficit at halftime. Not the worst. Not the worst. Yeah, and I feel confident. Wishing we had McBride for Cup games. Yeah, it's huge. I will say, considering the news that was drip-feeding out about McBride and the injury was, really, really slow news about really slow updates about what was going on with Deuce McBride. Because they kind of said he has like an ankle injury, and then they said the x-rays came back negative. I was like, okay, so not a break. And then they were like, well, he's going to get, he's going to get MRI. And then he got MRI, and they were like, he's going to do a couple more tests. And I was like, is it bad? Like, can he not put pressure on his foot? Like, what are we doing? And then it came out, just ankle sprain. We reevaluated in 1 week, which is like, I think, best case scenario, considering it didn't seem great. It didn't seem great. But 1 week, reevaluation is not bad at all. I'm bored. What's up? I'm bored. Can Cunningham get 11 assists? Probably. He averages 9, so sure. I mean, he's got 2 assists tonight. So, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I don't think he can. Doug Fresh said, SmackDown, I would love to bring Portis to the Knicks. No, I'm good. I'm good on Portis. Portis is doesn't play any defense. plays well like every other game, like I'm good. I'm good. I prefer my big. We already have one defensive liability big man in Karl Anthony Towns. We don't need two. We don't need two. He's a shooter sometimes. Sometimes he's a shooter. But what do we need a shooter for? We have Karl Anthony Towns. What do you need a shooting big man for? Another one. Just that said, having Kolek is a huge relief. Yeah, especially considering what Jordan Clarkson has been so far this year. Not great. Not great. Yeah, like I said, we had Bobby and didn't want to pay him for good reason. For good reason. I mean, they did ask him to come back. It just wasn't at the number that he was asking for, and then went to Milwaukee. Namar said, any update on Shamet? No, we should be... When did Landry Shamet get hurt? What game was that? Good point. They said, be reevaluated in 4 weeks. So he got injured against that first game against the Magic, I believe, which was November 12th. So this marks the fourth week. We are 1 month removed from Landry Shamet getting hurt, so we should be hearing about him sometime soon. Just that said, Lance Sanity should have news soon. Yeah, he should have news soon. So he got hurt November 12th. We are now December 12th, so we're a full year, my goodness. We are 1 month removed from the injury. We've seen him on the bench. We'll see. We'll see. They listed him as a sprained shoulder, and they said he'll be reevaluated in a month. So I would assume that the next time we hear about Landry Shamet, it'll be something along the lines of progressing well another week or something like that, and then we'll have more of a timetable about his return. Right? I would maybe even expect the idea is to bring him back for the Christmas Day game, but we'll see. See. Your dog catcher. What's up, dog catcher? Yeah, I said soon after the Cup. Yeah, soon after the Cup, I would probably expect maybe they're targeting the Christmas Day game, right? Or around the Christmas Day game, which is 2 weeks away. So I'd say probably 2 weeks. Because Kolek is the best passer. He's a great passer. Great passer. He's got to improve his scoring game in order to open up his passing game. Yeah, I said non-contact is next. What do you mean non-contact is next? Yeah. Mar said soon after the Cup? That's like, oh, yeah, after the Cup. I'm thinking of Christmas. Yeah, soon after the Cup. The final, the NBA Cup Championship game is on Tuesday. So, we're talking sometime next week, right? So they need him back, that's for sure, especially now with Deuce McBride being out. The Knicks lost 2 guys who were shooting 44% from 3 out of the rotation, which it hurts immensely. It hurts them immensely. Oh, yeah, so Shamet practice non-contact for. Yes, I see what you mean. In terms of practice, yeah, well, we haven't heard any update yet about whether he's practicing, non-contact, even shooting around. Like, we haven't heard anything yet. So, yeah, when we start hearing news updates on him, they said reevaluated in 4 weeks. So that usually means they will update the fan base in 4 weeks about what his progress is, right? Kind of usually their way of saying that. Like, we'll let you guys know in about 4 weeks what's going on with him. So, yeah, we'll probably hear about he's shooting around, right? Non-contact drills, stuff like that. You're right. That's the next step. We'll probably hear that, and then we'll hear 3-on-3 minimal contact stuff, like we heard with Anunoby, and then be like, oh, he scrimmaged the other day. He'll be back any game now. Sometimes that stuff can progress very quickly, like within a couple of days of each other. Sometimes that can, he could be doing non-contact for a week, and then he could be doing light contact for a week, and then he could be doing scrimmages for, 2 or 3 or a week, so that's 3 weeks right there, and then he'll be back. So, or sometimes it could be, yeah, he did non-contact today. Maybe we'll try limited contact tomorrow. Oh, he did really well with that. Maybe we'll do one more day of that and then see how he feels. Oh, he felt pretty good even after the 2 days of doing it. All right, let's do a full contact run at some point here. And then after a week, he progressed through all 3 of those stages and he's back. So it depends. It depends, especially considering the body part with the shoulder, especially considering it's the same shoulder he dislocated the last season. So I'm sure they'll be very slow and very cautious with him. Kevin P said, wow, Jalen Johnson has great numbers. Yeah, he hasn't been super aggressive tonight. Again, I know that's not necessarily his game as we go through the box score real quick. Not necessarily his game to be super aggressive, but he's got, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. This is nice. He's 3 for 9 from the field. Like, they need this to be a little bit higher. If you're going to be Batman, we talked about it in the pregame, like Jalen Johnson may be proving that he could be a Batman instead of a Robin. If you're going to be Batman, I need more than 7 points in the first half, so I need a much more explosive offensive second half from Jalen Johnson. 5 rebounds, 8 assists. Fantastic. Awesome. Incredible. Love that for him. Going to need more than 7 points for him. Alexander-Walker, though, he picked up the slack. 20 points for him, 4 for 7 from 3, 6 for 9 from the field overall. Only 1 rebound, no assist. Again, he's doing all the scoring. Jalen Johnson is doing all the facilitating. And then they're kind of gang rebounding as a whole. Almighty Alpha, what's up, Almighty? Got a lot of money on this game in the Knicks. Game tomorrow? Or you got a lot of game on this money, and then a lot of money on the Knicks as well? Is that what you mean? Dogcatcher said, I heard my Spurs streaming guy report that Wembanyama is going to play Saturday against OKC. Yes, the expectation as of right now is that he will play, barring a setback. Expectation right now is that he will play. His take was that it would be Spurs or his Magic Cup final. Hot take? No, I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think it's a hot take, to say anybody's going to beat OKC at this point. But I don't think it's a hot take at all, just because I don't think OKC is the unbeatable team that people have been making them out. Great transition, Dogcatcher. Appreciate you for that. Because I did want to go over OKC's schedule so far, just because we went over it the other day. And if you weren't in that stream, you can see now. Okay, I'm not trying to take anything away from OKC. They're still the reigning champions. They're still the by far prohibited favorite to repeat this year and win the championship again. Their schedule has just been very light. They've had a very easy schedule so far this year. So much so that they have had by strength of schedule standards, the easiest schedule so far by a long shot. It's not even close to the schedule that other teams have played. And look, you can only play the teams that are in front of you. So I'm not trying to take anything away from the Thunder because we know how great they are, obviously. But all I'm saying is that maybe 24-1 is a little bit inflated. You still have to go out there and compete. Teams lose to teams that they're not supposed to lose to all the time. So they're definitely handling business for sure. But when we run through it real quick, Houston, first game of the year, probably Reed Shepard's worst game of the year was the first game where he was a part of the rotation, got in there, people didn't know what to expect, he didn't know what to expect. So, Houston is better now than they were to start the year. That was their first game with Kevin Durant, first game of the year. OKC obviously already knew who they were. So, you got to play Houston before they got as good as they are now. Okay, double overtime game. Still wasn't easy. They pulled it off, though. Indiana sucked. Atlanta sucked to start the year. Dallas sucked. Sacramento sucks. Washington sucks. New Orleans sucks. The Clippers suck. You lost to Portland. You gave up a 21-point lead in that game. Okay, again, sometimes you lose games you're not supposed to. They weren't supposed to lose this game. They won it. Portland's pretty good, pretty feisty, especially when healthy, and they were healthy for this game. Sacramento sucks. Memphis sucked at this time. And they still suck, but with Edey, they're at least pretty good. And they didn't have Edey for this game, so Memphis sucks. Golden State is, they're kind of mediocre, right? They're kind of mediocre, but again, there were games where, let's see if everybody played for Golden State as well. Actually, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to check the box score of this game. Let's just go through it. Right? Like Golden State was mediocre at this time. They were 500. They're 500. They're still 500. They're still a mediocre basketball team. But let's see. Kuminga was playing, who's not a part of the rotation right now. They had Quentin Post in the starting lineup. Curry, Green, and Butler all played. They played everybody in the rotation decent minutes. I know they got blown out, but still, the Warriors at the early stage in this season, they were still trying to figure a couple things out. OKC, pretty healthy. Who are they missing? They're missing a couple of guys. Oh, actually not. They've been missing guys all year. That's the other thing, though, about the Thunder. They're so deep that they've been missing guys all year, and it hasn't really impacted them all that much. But they played the Lakers, who played here. They beat them by, 30? Luka did play. So they smacked them up with Luka. Reeves played. So Luka and Reeves had terrible games. So that's a tip to the cap to them, because the Lakers, at the time they were 8-4, and I actually think their record right now is a little bit inflated. The Lakers, I don't think they're as good as I think their record says they are, but they went in there and they smacked up the Lakers, or above average team. They're pretty good. So that's two. That's 2 games where I'll give them credit, where they beat pretty good team, pretty solid. And that's Golden State, which is mediocre, and Los Angeles, who is above mediocre for sure, but I don't think they're all that great. Charlotte sucks. New Orleans sucks. Sacramento sucks. Utah sucks. Portland, with the injuries, has sucked. Minnesota, that's another decent win. They won that one by 8. Phoenix, they won that one by 4. Phoenix is not all that great. They're about mediocre. Maybe a little bit better than that, but about mediocre. This is a team they just blew up by 50, but again, Phoenix was dealing with the injuries. Portland, without Drew Holiday, without a point guard, has sucked. Beat them by 8. Golden State, 12-point game. Okay, Golden State's one of those mediocre teams. Decent win, right? That's a tip to the cap. You beat Steph Curry. Steph Curry played in this game, because I know he's missed a couple of games here. Let's see. No Steph Curry, and they won by 12. Dallas sucks. Utah sucks. Phoenix, with no guards whatsoever to handle the ball, sucks. They beat them by 50. So, again, 2 or 3 games there where it's they played decent competition. And again, I'm not trying to take anything away from the Thunder. They are very clearly the cream of the crop in the NBA. In order to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, you have to play a damn near perfect game, and they have all this room, all this margin of error that they could have, right? So not taking anything away from them, they could only play who's in front of them. But when you look at the record, when you look at the schedule that they've had, it's okay, they've had an absolute cakewalk of a schedule to start the year, right? San Antonio will be by far their hardest test so far, right? And before that, you could make the argument the hardest test was the Houston Rockets opening night, in which the Houston Rockets probably played at a time where it's Kevin Durant's debut for the Rockets. It's Reed Shepherd, his first time as part of legit part of the rotation. It's all these factors kind of against Houston. First game without Fred VanVleet. How is this going to work out? And yet it went to double overtime. So between that game and trying to think of what else was their hardest test, I don't know. That's kind of been their hardest test so far, was opening night. So again, they're the cream of the crop, best team in the league. Not trying to take anything away from them. I just think they're not as as domineering. There is no way anybody can beat this team so far this year. Cream of the crop. It seems impossible to beat them kind of team that I think people are talking about them are. They're like I said, you have to play damn near a perfect game in order to beat them. I get that. Not trying to take anything away from them. But come on with the schedule. Come on, man. Come on. The schedule is going to get a little bit harder here. They got San Antonio coming up 3 times in a 2-week span here. They got San Antonio, and then San Antonio right before Christmas, and then San Antonio again on Christmas. So, we got Minnesota, which will be interesting. Minnesota's, a good team. You got Memphis, which sucks because they'll be without Zaccharie. You got Philly, which is a decent team. We're back in already for the third quarter. Just going through the Thunder schedule, it's it's going to get harder after Christmas. That's for sure. That's for sure. Here we go, though. We're getting into it now. We're getting back into it. My rant is over. My OKC rant is over. Oh, wrong scene. There we go. Detroit, after forcing a turnover, they kick it out to Duncan Robinson, and he starts off the quarter, knocking down the 3, and gets fouled by Okongwu. Okongwu he's had an up-and-down game, but a lot more downs than up so far tonight. So one more free throw here for Duncan Robinson. So Okongwu ends up fouling him. Yak said Houston size should give them fits going forward. Yeah, for sure. Kennard, what's up, Kennard? Edey is hurt again. Edey is hurt again. He'll be reevaluated in 4 weeks with a foot thing. Stress reaction on his foot. I don't know. Something about his foot, and then something about managing the foot. And I was like, oh, okay. Duncan Robinson knocked down his free throw. 73-60. 13-point lead for the Pistons. Kennard said, okay, just grab Duren, 7+ rebounds. Looks like he had a low bounding first half. Not a whole lot of misses in that first half. It was 69-60. Not a ton, not great defense being played. There's a rebound for Duren right there. Thompson bringing it down. Off the missed layup from Jalen Johnson. Thompson swings through down the lane, tries to kick it out, but Jalen Johnson does a good job hustling back and gets the steal. Johnson kicks it out. Risacher wide open, right corner three in transition. Off the back rim, can't get it to go. Battle for the loose ball rebound. Okongwu hits the floor, holding his face. Here comes Thompson the other way. Gets fouled. He's going to go to the foul line for 2 free throws. Kennard said, uh-oh, big guys like that and for problems is not good. See how you mean? Yep. Part of the reason why he fell in the draft. Just, it's hard to trust, 7'3", 7'4" dudes with the kind of mass and size that he has. Right? Hard, especially like with the way the game is played now, with how fast it is and how physical it can be out on the perimeter. Yak said, big man hurt everywhere in the league. Game is fast. And once you start hitting 7'9", 7'10", 11, 7 feet tall, it's not natural for you to move like this on every other night. Put this kind of pressure in terms of running and jumping and pivoting and spinning and exploding and the contact in the air and hitting the floor. It's not natural. Alexander-Walker attacking the basket. He gets blocked. He's looking for a foul call. He's not going to get it. The Pistons running down the other way. Euro step and finish for Ausar Thompson, bullying his way to the basket. Now a 17-point lead is opened up. Thompson did knock down his 2 free throws previously, so it's 77-60. They get it down low to Johnson. Johnson does get the layup to go as he beat Thompson down the court. 15-point game. We've seen this before so far here tonight. 15 was the largest lead in the first half. Now 17 that they just had. They cut it back down to 15 here. Cunningham dancing around the Duren screen to get it up top of Thompson. Swings through down the lane. Kicks it out to a wide-open Duncan Robinson. Left corner. Can't get it to go. Battle for the rebound. Daniels picks it up. Gets it out to Johnson. Johnson bringing it down. Hit ahead to Alexander-Walker. In the lane. Kicks it back up top. Johnson, wide open. Straightaway three. In and out. Can't get it to stay. Duren with yet another rebound. There you go, Kennard. Yak said, did he fall? He was late lottery. Was he late lottery? I thought he was just outside the lottery. But maybe I'm wrong. Probably wrong. Cunningham hits Harris cut into the middle of the lane for an easy two-handed slam and a timeout for the Atlanta Hawks here as they seem to just kind of be floundering here to start the second half. Detroit's coming out and smacking them in the mouth. I said Edey was number 10? 10 or 11? Oh, I thought he went lower than that. My bad. So this game's not looking good. Can run around the league real quick, though, because we didn't do it at halftime because we've been too busy ranting about the Thunder. But the Hornets are kicking the Bulls' butt. And the Bulls, after a 5-0 start, they were the darlings of the NBA. Everybody was like, oh, look at the Chicago Bulls. They are right back to being, actually, they're not right back to being mediocre. They're actually worse than mediocre. They're losing by 13 points to the Charlotte Hornets, for goodness sake. Pistons down by 10 to Philly. Look at Garrison Matthews. Oh, we missed it. Garrison Matthews. Once a Nick, always a Nick. Out there for Indiana now. Cleveland losing by 10 to Washington. If Cleveland loses this game, man. If Cleveland loses against the Washington Wizards, we are going to have some discussions. I'll tell you that. Yak said 12 or something, if I remember. I think, yeah, I'm remembering it now. I think you guys are right. He was late lottery, but yeah. And I thought he was going to probably drop to the 20s or something. I said Cleveland is looking stinky. They are looking stinky. As a matter of fact, let's look at the box score real quick in this game. Mitchell is playing. Garland is playing. Mobley is playing. No Jared Allen, though. But it should not affect you that much playing against the Washington Wizards. Garland is, never mind, that's the issue. Garland is 0 for 10 from three-point range and 1 for 11 from the field. Yeah, they're not winning nothing with Garland playing like that. I know he's injured, but at this point, just sit him out. Just sit him out until February or something. Heal up, because you're not winning anything without Garland. And if you just keep putting him out there, it's only going to make it worse. He was the 9th pick in the draft. Wow, actually higher than what we were talking about. Garland has been awful. He's been horrendous. 1 for 11 from the field and 0 for 10 from three-point range. Once you get to 0 for 5, 0 for 6, you got to stop chucking him up there, big dog. What's his stats so far in the year? I know he's injured. I know he's only played a couple of games. So far, he's only played 9 games. So this is his 10th. 14 points per game, 3 rebounds, 6.2 assists, 35% from the field. Oh, my goodness. 3-point percentage? 32% from 3. Not horrific. Figured it was going to be worse considering he's 0 for 10 tonight. He's going to drop below 30 after tonight's shooting performance. My goodness. Here we go. We're back into it. Alexander-Walker bringing it down. Oh, had the timer taking the whole time. Excuse me. 9 minutes to go. They get it to Okongwu. Foul line. Swings through to his right against Duren. Draws the foul. Can't get the shot to go, but he will go to the foul line for 2. You want to make a comeback. One of the best ways to do it. Get yourself to the foul line. Knock down some free points with the clock stopped. Okongwu misses a free throw. I mean, that's not going to help. Down by 17. Missing free throws is not going to help you get back into it. Let me blow my nose real quick. Okongwu does knock down the second one. 16-point game. Cunningham has it up top. Hands it off to Thompson. Thompson gets it over to Harris. Harris being guarded by Johnson. They get it over to Robinson. Robinson being guarded by Alexander-Walker. Coming to his right. Pull up straight away 3. Off the screen. Can't get it to go. Battle for the rebound. Knocked out of Duren's hands. Good job from Risacher. Here comes Alexander-Walker bringing it down the other way. They got the stop. Can they get the score? Risacher hands it off to Johnson. Johnson back to Risacher. Risacher inside pass to Daniels. Daniels kick it out. They swing it around. Okongwu wide open right corner 3. Comes up short. Battle for the rebound though. Johnson picks it up and then gets fouled by Harris. Going to send him to the foul line for 2. Again, finding themselves to the foul line, which is nice. Odo, what's up, Odo? Pistons are running. Yes, they are. Why did I restart the timer? My bad. We are too far ahead. Yak said we had Knicks fans thinking he would fall at us. I told them never happening. Well, part of the reason why they thought he would fall is because of exactly what's gone on with his career so far. You can't trust big men that big in a league like the way it's played now. It's too fast. Too fast. You know, now we're talking maybe stress reactions in the foot. As good as he is, it's always going to be a risk no matter where you're taking him in the draft. So to take him at number 9 for the Memphis Grizzlies was a risk. And now they're reaping what they sow. Johnson knocked down both free throws. Thompson driving it down. Euro steps past the defense and gets the easy lefty layup to go. Beautiful slick move from Thompson there. Alexander-Walker rushing it down the other side. Coming to his right, dancing around the Okongwu screen. Now coming to his left. Tried to hit the pocket pass to Okongwu. Bad pass. Okongwu able to pick it up, though. Down the lane, leaves it off for Daniels, and he gets the easy 2-handed slam. Nice decision there for Okongwu after the defense broke down. Thompson gets it over to Cunningham. Cunningham being guarded by Daniels. Coming to his left off the Duren screen. Pocket pass to Duren. Down the lane. Kicks it out to Robinson. Then run him off the line. Kicks it out to Harris. Wide open. Left corner 3. Bad defense from the Hawks. Great player and ball movement from the Pistons, but terrible defense from the Hawks there. Johnson, terrible lob pass to Okongwu, turns it over, was nowhere near it, and then they foul Cunningham coming down the other way. And back to the foul line for the Pistons. Cade Cunningham will take 2 with 7:30 to go here in the third. They're already up by 17. Cunningham can make it 19. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. Cunningham at the foul line for 2. Earlier in the night, he missed 2 in a row. But we'll unlikely see that again as he knocks down the first one here. Got another one coming. Oh, forgot to give Daniels the 2-point dunk. Cunningham does miss the second one, though. 7:30 to go. Atlanta trying to rush it down the other end. Risacher gets to the rim, gets blocked. Alexander-Walker picked up the loose ball, saying he got fouled on the putback attempt. They don't blow the whistle. They just rule it out of bounds, and the Pistons will bring it down the other way. Up by 18. They can go up by 20 here. Cunningham driving it down. Throws up the floater. Doesn't get the foul call either. Home run, hit ahead past the Risacher. Almost falls out of bounds. Saves it back out to Daniels. Nope, they rule him out of bounds. He didn't save it. Oh, no, they call a foul. They call a little push foul on Harris. I said, yeah, if we got ED, we would have had the foot injury twins. Yeah. I mean, they would have traded Robinson at that point. No need to have two guys like that on the roster. It would be like Sam Bowie and Greg Oden. Yeah, but playing at the same time. They would have traded Robinson at that point. The value was decently high at that point. Daniels driving it down, lost it out of bounds. Good defense from Duncan Robinson to knock it out. Hawks throw it away as they can't inbound it. Harris bringing it down the other way. Going all the way, pulls it out now. Harris kicks it out to Robinson in the corner. Cunningham, wide open right corner three. Knocks it down. 21-point lead here for the Detroit Pistons, and they are running away with it, y'all. We didn't pick a good game yet again. I have to be the bad luck charm of these games, man. We did both Western Conference Cup games. Both of them were snooze fest blowouts. Then we don't do one on Thursday because I don't think they're going to be good games. And, to be honest, while the scores were close, I don't think they were particularly good games. Did keep my eye on them. And then today, I picked this game because I think they're the two best teams playing today. Should be a good game because Atlanta's already lost to Detroit twice, I believe. Yeah, twice. Today's the third time we're doing these games. And they're getting smoked and ran out of the gym by Detroit yet again. It might just be a case of a really bad matchup for Atlanta here, but my goodness, do they have zero answers for Detroit. Yeah, I said I would love to have him. I enjoy watching big man play. Grew up in the big man era, Kareem, Wilt, Russell. Yeah, I get you. But you wouldn't have enjoyed watching him play because he never plays. Dog catcher, what's up, dog catcher? Edie smashed Yang Hansen's face and collapsed on Sunday, no foul. And our acting head coach, Thiago Splitter, got us T. And the Blazers lost to the Grizzlies. He played after a timeout, but was out last night for the Pelicans in a bad loss. Also, Donovan Clingan and Rob Williams III were also out injured. Yeah, Portland dealing with a ton of injuries. David Oz Jr. said we got tomorrow. We do have tomorrow, which will be a good game because Orlando, we've yet to play a game against Orlando in which all of our players left healthy. Just put it that way. Yak said, you never get close games, or they're rare. They are rare for me. For whatever reason, man, I just have to be the bad luck. I think we got off to the start of the year, and we were clicking. We had some really good games going. The best game I think we watched, or the best ending we've had so far this year, we watched Cleveland take on Miami, and at the end of the game, I think it went into overtime. Maybe it didn't. At the end of the game, Donovan Mitchell secured an offensive rebound, ran to the corner, knocked down a three, fading out of bounds, and it was like, oh my goodness, that was crazy. And then on the other end, the Miami Heat had like 0.4 seconds to go, and they execute a perfect lob pass play to win it at the buzzer on a dunk from Andrew Wiggins. That was the most exciting game we watched. To start the year, we had some really good games. And then, as the year's going on, I'm just falling off with picking these games, man. I'm falling off. I have not had a good feel for what's going to end up being the game of the night. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a big Atlanta comeback here tonight, and it'll end up being the game of the night. But as of right now, Detroit is running away with it. Here we go. We're checking back in. David Oss Jr. said, whatever team will makes the Cup Finals, it's got to be a must-watch. I think it's going to be a must-watch either way. Whether it's Orlando Thunder, Orlando San Antonio, Knicks Thunder, Knicks San Antonio, I think it's going to be a must-watch anyway because it's four good, talented teams. Alexander Walker, the straightaway three. Nice open look. Can't get it to go. And if shots aren't falling, you know, Atlanta's not going to keep up here with Detroit, who has all the momentum in the world. Thompson has it in the right corner. Gets it up top to Duren. Duren's going to dance with it. Against Okongwu. Stops, kicks it out to Cunningham. Cunningham hesitates from 3. Coming to us right off the Duren screen. Long pull-up 2 for Cunningham. Splashes in nothing but net. I mean, if he's making shots like that and the three-point shot is going down 23, we might just have to pack Atlanta up early here tonight. Let's see. Daniels driving it down to get over to Johnson. Johnson catches, hesitates, driving it down in the lane, throws up the lob to Okongwu. Can't throw it down. He catches, goes back up, gets blocked by Duren. Battle for the loose ball. Johnson able to pick it up. Little push shot in the paint. Gets a nice friendly roll off the front of the rim. And at least they got a basket there. Now you need stops, though. Duren has it up top. Cunningham has it up top. They get it over to Harris. Harris on the left wing. Trying to get it back to Cunningham. Cunningham has it against Daniels in the post. Quickly spins off of him. Goes along the baseline. Goes up. Smokes the layup. Duren right there for the offensive rebound. Knocked out of bounds. Knocked out of bounds. Knocked out of bounds by the Hawks. All right, the refs finally made a call. Knocked out of bounds by the Hawks. They can give it back to Detroit here. A couple of substitutions from both sides coming in. Yeah, it's at game time, 5:30 tomorrow. Yes, so that means we will be live at 5 o'clock. The normal half-hour pre-game preamble before each game. We'll go over both rosters as we normally do. Talk about the matchups. K. Hazy, what's up, K. Hazy? Laker game was good. Laker game was good. Game was good. I will say, though, the Lakers are just a snooze to watch for me, just because it's a flop and foul fest whenever Luka and Reeves are playing. Ivey has to heave it with the shot clock winding down, throws up an air ball. Ball going back to the Hawks here. David Osh Jr. said, you ready for our Jersey little snow tomorrow night? I heard it was going to be a lot of snow. Maybe that's just where I'm at, but I heard it was going to be like 4 to 6 inches. A decent amount of snow there. Not looking forward to it. They get it to Daniels down low, and he gets fouled by Ivey. He's going to go to the foul line for 2 free throws. 5:16 to go here in the third. It's a 21-point game, right? First step of making the comeback is getting it back to the teens. Next step is getting it back to the single digits, then getting it to a one-possession game, then getting over that final hump of actually taking the lead. So, Kennard said Lakers game was awful. Yeah, he's talking about a previous game, though, Kennard. But the Lakers, I don't think Luka Doncic is an entertaining player to watch at all. That's just me, though. Great player. Completely unentertaining. David said snow equals Christmas. It is Christmas time. Once the first snowfall happens, it's officially Christmas time. Oh, brother, we're going to get a guest. Oh, what's up, mamas? What's up, mamas? I know, he's sleepy. Oh, good. I know. Watch the game, Pearl. Watch the game. LeVert's driving it down. Leaves it off for Stewart. You see it? You see, Pearl? They get it over to Duren. Crosses over to his left, spins to his right. Loses it, picks it back up. Gets the layup to go with the buzzer. You see that? Did you see that? All right, I know. I love you. I know. All right, you got to stop crying. You're not a baby. Go. Go with your sister. Go ahead. Go with your sister. I gave you love. Go. There she goes. Duren has it in the paint. Flips up the righty hook. Got it to go. Back-to-back basket for him. Who made the three? Who made a three? Why is my score off? It's 72-94. Missed the three there. Duren with the rebound. Gets it over to LeVert. Throws a lob up to Duren. Big two-handed slam. And Atlanta has no momentum to get back into this one, y'all. Zero momentum. Zero momentum right now. There's nobody here to watch over the dogs while they do the game. So the door is open for them to come in if they want to. It is, what time is it? Is Daniels got a steal? He got fouled. It's 8:50, 8:48 right now. She's coming to tell me to go to bed. It's their bedtime. Like, are you going to go to bed? Like, come on, what are you doing down here? Yeah, I said Beagle? Yep, Beagle. We got 2 Beagles. That's the little one. Yeah, I said love seeing LeBron knocked to the floor, though he would never get up. What? Now Dimitri said later, gonna get ready for work. See you Saturday for the covers and the Magic. Stay safe. Let's go next. Appreciate you now. Appreciate you. Daniels at the foul line. My score is off. It's 94-73. Hit the first one. Got another one coming. Under 4 to go. There you go. Eyes gets it back to 20. Gets it back to 20. LeVert bringing it down. They get it over to Duncan Robinson on the lane. Swinging around. LeVert back to a wide open Duncan Robinson, left corner three. Misses that one. Get Krejci with the rebound. Here comes Daniels, pushing it the other way. Leaves it off for Johnson. Johnson hands it off to Krejci. Krejci in the lane. Kicks it back up top. Wide open Jalen Johnson. You got to knock that one down. And of course he doesn't. So Vic Krejci with the offensive rebound. Back to Johnson. Hesitates from three. Down the lane. Takes the contact. Can't get the layup to go. Gets his own offensive rebound and put back. 18-point game. But unless they can get this closer to 10, I'm not going to get interested in this. They give up a wide open lane to Duncan Robinson for the easy layup. Again, just not a whole lot of fight on the defensive side for Atlanta tonight. They get an open looks and they're not knocking them down. It's a recipe for disasters. Kennard gets a wide open left corner three in transition and he just misses it. Ivey has it in the right corner, steps back, mid-range fall-away jumper, splashes it. Not a good night for Atlanta basketball at all. Down 22 with 2:30 to go here in the third, and they have like very little fight right now, especially defensively. Johnson fires away from three, can't get it to go. Nothing going down for Atlanta here tonight. A recipe for disaster. Bad defense, missing open shots, missing very makeable shots. Kennard said, what's wrong with Atlanta? I think that Detroit is just a horrible matchup for them. I don't think it's good at all. At all. Oh, they took away one of Duren's layups. That's why I had to take the 2 points away. Came after the shot clock buzzer. Kean Wallace has it up top. They get it over to Kennard. Kennard gets it over to Okongwu. Swings through to his right. Throws up the righty hook. Draws the foul on Stewart. Stewart upset with the ref. 2 minutes to go. Okongwu will go to the foul line for two. It's a 22-point deficit. I mean, they're trading baskets and you're down 20. And they've shown no propensity to be able to stop the Pistons here at all. At all. Right? Pistons have just, you know, it was a closer game earlier when it was a back-and-forth affair. It felt like neither team could really stop the other. They were both executing extremely well. Okongwu misses the first free throw. And so they were just trading baskets. And then Detroit turned up the defensive intensity. And then even still, Atlanta has had a bunch of open looks, even from three-point range. And they just missed. And they've just missed good makeable shots. Jackson missed Trey and KP doesn't help. I mean, yeah. Yeah. You know, all of the talk about how Atlanta is playing so much better without Trae Young, and yet after tonight they'll be sitting at 14-12. You know, so how much better are they with Trae Young versus without Trae Young? Stewart misses the three. Can't get it to go. Out of bounds. Atlanta will bring it down the other way. Under 2 to go. The Kristaps Porzingis one, Yak, like there's no help in that. Like sometimes he's going to play, sometimes he's not. There's no help in that with his situation at this point. Okongwu stops, turns, spins, throws up the flip shot, got that one to go. Okay. I'm just not going to be impressed or excited about the results of this game if Atlanta can't come up with some consistent stops here against Detroit. Cunningham is not even in the game. Duren is not even in the game. And Atlanta's still having trouble stopping them as LeVert gets a wide open mid-range jumper because Kennard loses track of him trying to deny the ball to nobody. And he just simply cut back door on him and get a wide open mid-range jumper 15 feet away from the basket. 179. Kean Wallace gets it out to Vic Krejci. Vic Krejci left wing three, can't get it to go. And at this point, Atlanta, like they're chugging up threes, and they're good threes. They're good threes. They're open, like maybe semi-contested, maybe slightly rushed, but like very makeable shots from good shooters like Johnson, Alexander-Walker, Vic Krejci, Luke Kennard, and they haven't hit any of them. You know, so it's a recipe for just not being able to make the comeback here tonight. If those shots start to fall down, maybe they'll have the chance, obviously, but has not been the case so far, as Ron Holland just sliced his way to the rim for an easy layup. Yak said, how many turnovers? We're at the end of the quarter now, but I could tell you real quick, overall for the Hawks, they have 17 turnovers to the Pistons 8. So, the turnover game also not helping. Also not helping. Judge that said, Cade, 15, 7, and 2, 2 and 1. It's great. Great. Rose Pierre said, state of the art of NBA, to be honest, teams give away games early, and here you have another 20-plus game. I just don't trust Atlanta. Not going to trust Atlanta. We got a spillage here on the sideline, so we're going to get a stoppage in play. Great. 50 seconds to go here in the third. My timer's ticked off, but with a 23-point deficit, does it really matter? Does it really matter? Hawks will bring it down. Keaton Wallace is in the game. Get it out to Okongwu, into Moguet, kicks it out to Kennard, extra pass to Wallace. Great rotations here from Detroit, not giving up an open looks at all. They kick it out to Kennard in the corner, stops, turns, spins, driving down in the lane, kicks it out. Moguet, open shot, comes up short on it. Long rebound, fight for it. Ivey saves it off of Okongwu, going back to Detroit. Great defensive possession there for the Detroit Pistons. They made multiple extra effort rotations to run guys off the lines or at least deter them from taking the three. And then even when Atlanta continued to swing the ball around and generated a good open look from Moguet, 3 Pistons players made the extra effort to at least try and close out onto him. And I'm sure that that somewhat affected Moguet's concentration and knocking down the shot to see 3 Pistons players flying at him, even though it was open. Ivey gets it over to Stewart, downloaded to Javonte Green, reverse layup for him. Easy layup, beautiful ball movement from the Pistons, who are just slicing up the Atlanta Hawks so far. My goodness, what a terrible, terrible game. Keaton Wallace has to chuck it up at the end of the shot clock, at the end of the game clock, here at the end of the third quarter. Hits the side of the backboard, no rim, and it's 104-79. How much longer do you think we should stay? Should we give them a chance here in the fourth quarter to make the comeback? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? That's a Duncan Robinson plus 13. I mean, everybody's going to be in the plus. When you're up 25 points at the end of the third quarter, everybody's going to be in the plus, brother. Can they make a 25-point comeback in a 12-minute span? We'll give them 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Right? We'll give them to the 8-minute mark to see what they have to start this fourth quarter. Because that's it. The Pistons are probably going to empty the bench. We'll give them to the 8-minute mark before we call it quits to see if they've got anything in the tank. Can they just fire a bomb away from 3 and actually start knocking them down? Right? Because if we go to the box score, overall they are 8 for 30 from 3-point range. So the 3-point shot's not going down at all for them tonight, which is obviously, when you're down by 25, the biggest weapon you have for a comeback. So can they just catch lightning in a bottle? Can they get hot? Make this interesting? I'll give them 4 minutes. Because at that point, if it's still a 20-ish game with 8 minutes to go, that's when I lose faith. Foong Pei, what's up, Foong Pei? Foong Pei said, yeah, do it for Spud Webb, guys. Got no belief in them. Got no belief in them. Yak said, not a chance. We'll see. We'll see. Obviously, incredibly unlikely. Like, in the single digits percentile of a chance. Right? Like, they have maybe a 2% chance of pulling this off. As a matter of fact, we can go to the ESPN win predictor. They have a 99.8% chance of winning the Detroit Pistons. So there's a 0.2% chance that Atlanta can make this comeback happen. So you're telling me there's a chance. Rose Pierce said they should implement a second league so teams have to fight against being shifted to the minor league and have to fight for being shifted back to the NBA. One should push competitions. Yeah, I mean, that's the soccer. Is that for the Premier League? That's the old soccer rule. They have multiple clubs, multiple divisions. Teams bounce up and down depending on how they perform. It's just not going to work in the NBA. It's not going to work because you think about how different NBA competition is compared to G League competition, right? Like G League players look fantastic all the time in the G League, and then they go up to the NBA, and it's just a completely different thing. So they do have a second league. It's called the NBA G League, and yet no NBA G League team is going to beat the Washington Wizards in a basketball game. You know, and the Wizards are the worst team in the league. So there's just not there's not enough capable talent, right? There's not enough. Here's the thing: there's not enough capable talent unless you divided the league, right? There's 30 teams. If you did expansion and you got to 32, and you did 2 leagues, a 16-team league and a 16-team league, right? Then that's maybe the only way you could do it. But obviously, they would not do that. Just that to the Wiz beating the Cavs. Big. Really big? Oh, man. Okongwu knocked down both free throws. But again, until they get this interesting, they got 4 minutes from me. They got to the 8-minute mark. Oh, my goodness. They're down 15 at the end of the third. I mean, Washington just scored 40 points in a quarter, too. My goodness, Cleveland. What is wrong with you? Ivy knocked down a jumper, so they're still trading baskets. 15-point game. Oh, my. Cleveland. You allowed Washington to score 40 on you in the third quarter coming out of the second half? When you were already down, they scored 36 in the second quarter, and then as a response, you gave up 40, a worse quarter in the third. So the Washington Wizards, no less. I mean, who's playing? They don't even have Alex Sarr out there. No Chris Middleton. Oh my goodness. I mean, CJ McCollum's playing well. He's got 23. Bob Carrington's playing well. He's got 19. Probably his best game of the season. Oh my! I mean, just going down it. Jameer Watkins is going off against you. Like, this is probably the first time he's getting real rotation minutes here. You got Tristan Vukcevic off the bench. Oh my goodness. I'm disgusted. Just that, do you have Knicks gear for the dogs? No Knicks gear for the dogs. They don't really like anything. They don't like wearing anything. They're too rambunctious. Just that, the Wiz Cavs game is very similar to this one. I mean, they quickly got it right back down to 10. So, all right. It's unfortunate they're going to have a big 15-point comeback in the fourth quarter here, but they could do it. They already marked 5 points off the lead, so we'll keep an eye on that. It is, what's the score now? 83 to 106 here. Okay. We're only a minute in. What is it? Is that to that? Still trading baskets. 23-point game. Ron Holland at the foul line for 2. Knocks down the first one. He's got another one coming. All right. You're not putting a dent in it at all. Time's going to wind down on you. Didn't even start the timer. My bad. We're only a minute in, though. 11 minutes to go. James Brown. What's up, James Brown? Is Thompson getting back in? Probably highly unlikely with the way this game's going. Although it is possible. It's possible, but unlikely. Daniels bringing it down after the 2 made free throws from Holland. Okongwu gets it out to Daniels. Daniels coming down off the screen, kicks it out to Okongwu. Tried to hit the extra pass to the corner, and then Okongwu grabs Javonte Green. Should be a clear path foul, unless you have to have possession for a clear path foul. If anything, it should be a take foul at least. Jay Hazy said, how do you go from almost having the best record in the league to losing to Washington? No Garland and no Jared Allen tonight. But still. Should still be able to beat the Wizards with Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. Yeah, I think I'm fully out on the Cleveland Cavaliers, man. They call it just a regular loose ball foul. I don't know how that's not a take foul. I guess because he didn't have possession. But the Pistons do get the ball back, and they're already up by 25. They can make their largest lead of the game even larger here, and they do just that as Stewart bully balls his way right past Austin Newell's chest for the easy layup. Oof. I said I'd give them a couple minutes. They're not even making a dent in this lead as Risacher knocks down a midi. So we're probably gonna end it. Gonna end it soon. I'm trying to give Atlanta a chance here, but it looks like they're quitting. Not quitting, but it looks like they don't have the belief that they can make this comeback. Johnson dives on it, turns it right back over though. Holland down low to Ivey. Ivey pulling all the way back out. The whistle was blown. Oh, they blew the play dead because there was a wet spot on the court. All right. I mean, this game's over, so they're making sure we got player safety going on. Okay, 2 minutes into the quarter, I said I'd give them 3 or 4. I was leaning more towards 4 to get to the 8-minute mark. But I'll tell you what, the first timeout we get, we'll end it there. We'll end it at the first timeout. The way this is going, Stewart all the way to the basket, gets fouled by Newell. Austin Newell can't guard Isaiah Stewart. Not strong enough. Not a good matchup. Alexander-Walker coming over trying to help him out. But Isaiah Stewart's at the foul line for 2 free throws. Stewart knocks down the first one. Now a 26-point lead, largest lead of the game. Oh no, largest lead of the game was 27 in the previous play, so tie it, the largest lead of the game. He does just that, knocking down both. Here comes Jalen Johnson bringing it down. Jalen Johnson tonight with 15, 10, and 9. Stats look nice, but I don't think he played a particularly good game at all. At not any point did he take charge of this game at all. 10 minutes to go. Johnson draws the foul. Going to get 2 foul shots. Johnson going back to the foul line here. Add them stats, brother. Add them stats. Only had 1 assist in the second half here. He had 8 at halftime. He does knock down the first free throw. It was in and out, but in again. Cuts it down to 26, y'all. Cut it down to 26. 10 minutes to go. Johnson does knock down both. Here come the Pistons. Ivey on the right wing, being guarded by Alexander-Walker. Coming to his left off the screen. They get it over to Stewart. Kicks it out to Holland. Now over to LeVert. LeVert on the left wing. Over to Stewart, middle of the paint. On the short roll, swings it out to Javonte Green. A right wing 3. In and out. Stays out. Johnson with the rebound. He's bringing it down the other way. Johnson over to Alexander-Walker. Back to Johnson. Johnson, jab step, driving it down. Takes it out. Alexander-Walker catches, pump fakes, gets stripped by LeVert. Shoves it inside the green. Green with the smooth layup. And now this ties the largest lead of the game again. I almost thought it was largest lead. Thought it was 29. Instead, it's back to 27. Green hesitates from 3. He's 1 for 5 from 3-point range tonight. Got to start heaving him up at some point. We're at the 9-minute mark. We got 1 more minute. We got 1 more minute to make me a believer. Obviously, it's not happening. They got no momentum whatsoever. Alexander-Walker chucks up a 3, can't get it to go. Ron Holland with the rebound. And this is, again, I guess we'll go until full timeout here, but Stewart lines up a 3. That's going to be it. That's going to be it. Stewart knocks down the 3, giving them the 30-point lead. And there's the timeout from Atlanta. Perfect timing. That's going to have to end the stream right there. No chance of a comeback for Atlanta. They notice it too. They call the timeout. And that is just going to end up ending the show just because I value your guys' time. I value my time. I appreciate y'all. We're going to get together for hopefully 2 fantastic games tomorrow. Wembanyama is making his comeback against the Oklahoma City Thunder. At least that is what is going to happen at this point. He's going to make his comeback tomorrow against the Oklahoma City Thunder. That is the late game. But the premier game here on the channel will obviously be when the New York Knicks take on the Orlando Magic, and what a day it will be. We're going to have 2 fantastic games. I'm excited for it. I'm ready to go. I hope you guys are ready to go. We need the energy. We need the crowd. The crowd, you guys, the fans. We need all of New York to send the energy over to the Knicks because they need to be able to survive them dirty Orlando Magic players. The Knicks have yet to survive a healthy matchup against the Magic. So going in against them, they're down Shamit, they're down McBride. Here we go. Line us up. No Franz Wagner, so they're also missing a guy, an important guy. So here we go. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good day. Good day of basketball. It is a 5:30 tip-off time, so we will be live at 5 o'clock to go through our pregame ritual as usual, the way we have all season long. Appreciate you guys. Boompe, all right, Chevy, thanks for covering this game. Yeah, unfortunately, I apologize, but I just for some reason can't pick a good basketball game to watch. For whatever reason. Real quick before I fully sign off here, I'll just check the scores around the league real quick just because. Hornets, Chicago, close game. Pacers, they're up by 2 here against Philly. I mean, we could really pivot if we wanted to. Wizards, Cavs, 3-point game. So literally every other game that was on the docket, that we could have watched has ended up being a really good close game. My other game that I thought about maybe watching was going to be Pacers 76ers. I thought that was probably going to be the second best game. And so far that's delivering. So, you know what? I apologize. I thought this was going to be a good game. Atlanta's lost to Detroit twice now. I thought they were going to come out and be like, no, we got to get a good win against Detroit. And they threw up yet another stinker. So I don't believe in Atlanta at all this year. I'm done believing in them. I'm out. I mean, maybe let's see what they look like with Trae Young when he comes back. But for now, I'm out of Atlanta. They're going on the ban list. We're not watching Atlanta basketball until Trae Young comes back and they can prove that they're an actual decent competitive team. So we're done with them. And then, I got a couple of teams on the ban list, teams that I don't find entertaining. The Lakers may be on the ban list. Like, I'll watch the Lakers as a last resort. But they're on the ban list after the game they recently played. Incredibly boring basketball to watch. The Hawks are on the ban list. But, yeah. We'll go from there. Appreciate y'all again. We'll see each other tomorrow at 5. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Remember, always brush your teeth before bed. Stay hydrated, and I'll catch you on the next one. Good night, everybody. Bye.